So we are about 14 minutes late, but the reason why we're late tonight has nothing to do with us. Oh no, it has something to do with the fact that we just finished watching another phenomenal contest for the United Kingdom Championship with the Bruiserweight Pete Dunne retaining over Tyler Bate. We'll talk about that later tonight, but let's get to the opening as always. Welcome to another edition of the Wednesday Wrestling Popcast, exclusively here on the Popcast Network. My name is Owen. Joining me as always is Ashley.
Indeed.
A lot of stuff to discuss tonight. Obviously, we took Raw off, and hopefully we'll be returning for Raw Monday night. We should, because it is Christmas night, so it should be fun. And since I can't do a show on Festivus on Saturday, I guess I'll air some grievances tonight with my what I think about the WWE product. So we've got a lot to talk about tonight and a lot of time to do so. We're going to do WWE to start it off. We're going to kick off with Raw, Smackdown, 205 Live, and NXT. And then we're going to go
for 2 weeks.
Yes, exactly. UFC news, MMA news, whether it is there, here or there, it's going to be there. Then we're going to be talking about Ring of Honor. Final Battle just finished. And we've also got New Japan Pro Wrestling. We're going to be building up to Wrestle Kingdom, which very much excited for. Impact Wrestling returning to my literal home away from home in just a couple of weeks. And all the news, rumors, and match reports from the Independents. So all that and more tonight on the Wednesday Wrestling Popcast. Plus, I can say right now that not only does the Bullet Club have their hand in Hot Topic, but Pro Wrestling Tees has got some other shirts that are available, including a Candace and Chili shirt that's available right now at Hot Topic. It's on the .com. Yeah. So yeah,
and Jericho.
Jericho's Alpha Club shirt, which I will have in on my person very soon. So
the question is, what are you going to wear January 4th if that's the case?
That's a good question. I wish I could do like the half and half thing. That'd be great, but I'm not going to face a shirt to do that. I still need to pick up my Marty Scurll Raglan shirt and my Cody 2020 shirt. I haven't got them. They're actually waiting at my Hot Topic right now for me to pick them up. So I see there's Kenny Omega socks that are available now. So yeah, this is gonna happen. A five pair of New Japan Pro Wrestling socks is $11.17 right now.
Where's the Kenny Omega giant bandage around your head? That should be a thing.
That is a fair point.
Make it happen. Hot Topic, make it happen.
Hot Topic, make everything happen. So that's what we've got for starters tonight. So we got a lot of things to discuss. Let's talk a little bit about Raw, obviously, because we missed out on Raw this week. So Ashley, let's kick it off. What happened on Monday Night Raw this week?
Irony is I didn't watch this one because I passed out because I was literally up too long.
I know the feeling.
Irony is we actually both missed a show that was rubbish. Or somewhat rubbish.
And I can say, and another news, water is wet, and you know the rest of that. And I'm not going to say it out loud.
Remember, last week you weren't able to do it, and it was really good.
Right. This week, not so much.
I think 2 weeks ago, I think, actually.
Something like that.
Because last week was actually, we did that, and it was sort of okay. But the week that you missed and whatever, it was like, holy shit, it's good. So Providence, Rhode Island. Sorry. So Kurt basically says, oh, we'll find out who Brock's facing at the Rumble soon. Could be me because I was the only one left standing. Kane comes out and says, Braun's had his chance against Brock. I've never taken him on. You know, sure, he's taken down The Undertaker, but he hasn't taken down me. And then Heyman comes out and Brock comes out. And Kurt just says, it's a triple threat, guys. And then it's Kane's choke slam. Picks up Kane. Has to drop him and then pick him up again. Attempts to do the F5. That isn't concerning at all, is it? ever so slightly.
Just a bit.
That up after getting the F5 and whatever. So then Seth's in the ring, getting ready, and here comes Jason Jordan. It was supposed to be Seth versus Samoa Joe, but whatever. And Joe, I know that you want Samoa Joe. I've been wanting him for weeks. Samoa Joe comes out and goes, "Oh, nice how everybody wants me. How about versus Rollins and whoever gets put to sleep by me?" And Seth goes, "Well, no, the match has already happened." Jason comes in the ring and pushes Seth down. And so Seth's immediately like, we've got beef now. Do this. It's like, so Jason's getting into matches on this card. Annoying prick. It's an issue here. It's a relatively good match. The V trigger. And then comes out and they sort of brawl a little bit. And Joe takes down Jordan again afterwards as well. F's like, I want Samoa Joe tonight. And Dean wants Joe and says, you know, do you see what Joe did to me? Fine. Joe and the bar. See you later. So everybody, Roman had the week off because he's the number one guy. Because they're slacking. So then Bray Wyatt shows up and says, you know, what is it to draw you to Woken Matt Hardy? The words, his laugh, his faces. It's maybe all fun and games until somebody gets hurt. Matt wants to continue this little chess match by your rules. Must end. Overall, with one match. To make up for it, they go crazy in the second hour. So first up, Finn Balor versus both members of the Mr. Raj in a DQ finish because both Axel and Bo attack Balor. The ref's like, sod it. And then the surprise, because Hideo Itami comes out and beats the crap out of Mr. Raj. And we come back from commercial. Tag team match player. So Kenta and Prince Devitt take on Michael McGillicuddy and Dallas's name before, or was he always Bo Dallas? I can't remember.
In NXT, he's always been Bo Dallas.
Husky Harris's brother.
Taylor Rotunda.
Oh, that's a real name, not Michael McGillicuddy.
I mean, that's the name he used before. I mean, he was Bo Rotundo or Bo Rotunda before.
Itami wins with a GTS. Would have been better next week considering, Chicago.
Yep.
But either way, interesting to see him debut on Raw rather than 205 Live.
Yeah, saving room for
thing is, I
Rockstar's
don't
butt, it
think
looks like.
many people knew who Hideo Itami was.
That's not good. You debuted in the wrong market for it. That's the problem.
You'd have thought Providence, Rhode Island, with Beyond Wrestling and whatever would have a following, but
Perhaps not.
to some extent would have been better in Chicago and whatever, but whatever. And then Cedric Alexander's interviewed about the match with Gulak for later. Then, by later we mean next, I guess. Because then Enzo comes out with Drew. And Drew goes, if we're going to talk Star Wars, I consider myself a Jar Jar Binks. That's a hero. And the biggest match of my life is happening now, and I owe it all to my mentor and my best friend, Enzo. And I got a special edition of my plan for a better 205 Live. The Enzo Amore Tribute Edition presentation. And Cedric interrupts, and they have a match. It goes on for quite a while, I will say. The main issue is the crowd really don't give a damn. Again, considering who it is, rather surprising, I would argue. Lumbar check anyway. And then Enzo's backstage and sees Nia Jax, who's smiling, and a DM. And Nia's like, look, I thought we could just finish our conversation. Nia mentions Drew, and Enzo goes, friend, he just works on me. And then Drew comes in, balls of tissue up his nose to stop the bleeding and whatever. I lost it, and all right, I've let you and the Zo train down, and we need to talk about it. Hey, that's more important than what we've got. I'll talk to you some other time. And Drew goes, I don't know what happened. Tapes and see what went wrong. Perhaps if we could go over it together. And Enzo's just like, you did a lot of things wrong, and walks away. And I've noticed a few people saying, perhaps this is Nia being a face.
Maybe.
Every time she appears, it's always something involving Drew. And she's always interested in Drew. So, is she going to be with Drew?
Maybe.
I'd approve of this. Better than Enzo.
That could be what starts the collusion between Drew and Enzo, and that's how Drew ends up winning the Cruiserweight title.
Yeah. So then Alicia Fox is saying, "Oh, I'm beating Asuka." Guess what? She don't. Somewhat longish match, but Asuka gets locked in, and the tap out happens, and that's it. The stuff comes later. So now the 6-man on the bar versus ripoff and the Kenny Okada ripoff. Pakistan. They're not too bad a match. The heels get the win. Sheamus brogue kicking Seth. Then we go to backstage and a limousine shows up, and here's Stephanie immediately going, "Oh no, what's going on?" And now Matt Hardy's playing chess with a mysterious person, and he's hit checkmate. The battle at the Loo of Water, where your horses were eradicated. Why he's saying this is he's talking to a goldfish in a bowl. The implication being the goldfish is Napoleon Bonaparte. You are a Homo sapien vessel, we can battle again. The vast grounds of WWE are a battleground. Every move must be precise. One mistake can lead to annihilation. By the way, fuck you, Netflix. They've been doing this twisted little tango since the beginning of existence. I'll be brighter than any shadow that Bray could provide, and I will stand with my woken warriors against Bray and Sister Abigail, because they must be deleted. Delete, delete. So then they show the footage from the end of a six-man tag, and they address Dean Ambrose's arm because worked over, like towards the end of the match. And then Dean's in the back being checked out, and then Joe and the bar attack him and drops a case on top of Dean's arm. He's been taken off to a medical facility for assessment. In real life, apparently, he fucked up his arm at some point in the past few weeks, so he's having to go for surgery. Might be out for up to 6 months. So Ambrose might not be at WrestleMania this year.
Wouldn't be shocking.
And then Heath Slater and Rhino versus the returning Revival, which is amazing. They're back. Revival win it with Shatter Machine. And Slater and Rhino then are backstage afterwards, and Kurt says, look, you need to toughen up, you know, so you can get your opportunities. And Slater's like, well, I hope we don't get fired. I got kids, man. But we need to change our attitude. We need to toughen up. And then Elias is in the ring and has got a song. And he's crossed paths with Tom Brady, and his music is the soundtrack for success. And Brady listens to all my music as he gets ready for his games, deflating footballs and manipulating the rule books. Legend myself, though, I've taken Roman to the limit and survived Braun Strowman. And I'm vowing the Royal Rumble. So there's your first contestant, everybody. So then he has a song for Roger Goodall. Except it gets interrupted by Sasha. And Sasha's like, hey, thank you for joining me. And then Mickey comes in and says, hey, maybe we can do a duet with you. You being Elias and me being the country star. And then he's like, okay, if you want to walk with Elias, feel free. And then Bailey comes in and he's like, look, he walks off. Because that's how we're introducing faces versus Absolution. Which the faces win because Sonya and Mandy attack Sasha, and it's just a beatdown and whatever. From this was a really terrible match. As soon as Sonya and Mandy come in for the beatdown, you could audibly hear the crowd go, oh. Owned. And then Nia shows up. And then everybody else comes out. You know, Dana, Alexa, Alicia, Asuka. And then, as they're brawling, they suddenly stop because Stephanie McMahon's music plays. That is what stops anybody, apparently. gets a mic and says, the revolution started 3 years ago. On Woman on Raw and the Women on SmackDown. You turn the revolution into an evolution. The Divas division turned into the women's division. It shows main evented pay-per-views. We've had the first Money in the Bank women's match, the first women's Hell in a Cell match, women's match in the Middle East. Time to make history again. Next month, for the first time ever, there's going to be a women's Royal Rumble match. You do the yes chants. So, yeah, she's stealing somebody else's catchphrase. And two, why the fuck does she have to be the face of the women's stuff? Because it makes her look just genuine as fuck. As if it's all her idea. Yeah, that's how Raw went off the air. Tons of viewing figures. Apparently nobody watched the third hour, which is a shame because all in all, it was, I'd say the third hour was the third hours that I've seen in quite a while. If you don't include the really good one from a few weeks back. Good to see Revival back in action. Was pretty good, but you sort of, I don't think Dean ever did anything in the match from what I remember. The arm situation. And then the six women's match was the fact that it had the DQ finish just really soured it for everybody, including the crowd. So there you go.
Raw to SmackDown?
Yeah, the following night on SmackDown was... I'm trying to remember where it was from. Newark, New Jersey. Comes out and he wants to talk about the Women's Royal Rumble match and the fact that tonight's main event is going to be Zayn Owens and Mahal versus Orton, AJ, and Nakamura. And then Shane comes out and says he wants to address Clash of Champions and how basically Sammy gets RKO'd. And just as he goes for the 3 count, Daniel tripped and broke up the count. And hell, I could have counted to 50. Of course, the irony is, when you look at it, he didn't trip, he was pushed down. And Daniel said that was an accident. And then Shane was like, no, I was going to make the 3 count when Sammy had Randy Orton won. But I remember what Kevin did to my dad and remembered how Sammy cost me the match at Hell in a Cell and what they did to screw over us at Survivor Series. That's why I didn't make the 3 count. And, then Sammy rolled him up and Daniel did a fast count. And Daniel rightfully goes, I did what I did to protect you from yourself, Shane. Shane's like, I don't need protection. And Daniel says, with all due respect, you kind of do. You eat, sleep, and breathe this. And that passion turns into a hothead. I'm protecting you and the idea of what SmackDown's about. I took this job because of a shared vision. The land of opportunity. For everybody. Not just people that you like. You might not like Sammy. You might not like Kevin. But if you threaten their livelihood, you threaten to take away what they promised everybody. And Shane's like, look, I understand the empathy you have. But as soon as they're done playing on your heartstrings, they'll just stab you in the back. Don't show favoritism because it'll bite you in the butt. And Daniel goes, okay, oh, so should I have done what's best for business? I vaguely remember hearing that phrase before. And that's what made I fought against that. Don't worry, Shane. I believe in you and I believe in Smackdown. If you've got a different vision, that's your prerogative. If you want to fire somebody, fire me. Now, let's be honest. I don't want to see Shane O'Mac turn into Mr. McMahon. And Shane just says, look, I respect you. I trust you. And wishes Daniel luck with the show. An interesting little angle there, I will say. Interesting developments. So then we get the Usos versus Gable and Benjamin, which Gable and Benjamin actually win with their powerbomb clothesline combo. So I guess that means they're number one contenders, probably. So then Charlotte comes out and then says, you know, how she retained her title at Clash of Champions and that now the women's Royal Rumble is happening and you know all of the fans helped them and you chanted and you showed passion for what you do and management listened. And whoever wins the Rumble, you know, I'll be taking them on at Mania. Here comes Naomi, who says, I'm declaring that I'm in the Women's Royal Rumble. I'll see you at WrestleMania. And then the Riot Squad show up. And Naomi's like, well, you clearly aren't going to be entering the Rumble match because the Rumble match is every woman for themselves. It's not about sneak attacks. It's about surviving the numbers. And then throws down a challenge for a tag match, which Ruby and Sarah accept. Pretty good. Naomi winning with a rear view on Logan to get the win. Then we get to the New Day being backstage in Christmas garb. And Big E's got his flapjacks again and whatever. And Aiden English and Rusev are dressed like a snowman and Santa and whatever. And Rusev's like, nobody wants our shirts. And Rusev Claus is here to get everybody what they want. Brand new Happy Rusev Day shirts. But there's only one list for Rusev Claus, and that's the naughty list. And then Aiden goes basically, oh, Rusev Day. We want to face the New Day or something like that. And Rusev stomps on Big E's pancakes. And Big E's like, you don't stomp on a man's pancakes. So they start they accept the challenge and whatever. So then Dolph comes out and says, I told you. Now, you wanted one to know why I was in the match. This is why I'm champion. You know, no one can do what I can do in the ring. And this is the start of his second title reign because, you know, I won it back 6 years ago. And don't forget, you know, I'm a 5-time IC title champ as well. Hell, I'm also a world champ cashing in Money in the Bank. I'm one of the most decorated stars in history. Year after year, I prove it to myself and to all of you. And year after year, I get unappreciated. You know, none of you are worthy of my presence. None of you deserve me. You want something to remember me by? And Dolph drops the belt and walks out the ring. So again, I'm flipping confused. What's going on? Because it took a very weird turn. It was basically the same as what Natalia did, arguably. And Daniel Bryan's offered a bottle of champagne by Kevin and Sammy. And Daniel's like, look, I didn't do it for you, I did it for SmackDown. By the way, I don't drink. And then Kevin's like, well, we know you did it because of Randy. You know, because of all that stuff about bloody Evolution trying to take your soul, and he beat you for the title back at SummerSlam in 2012. All that stuff. And Daniel goes, if you keep acting this way, I'll fire you myself. So that got a little serious, I guess. Then Aiden English and Rusev versus New Day. Quite a lot of comedy stuff in this one, but somewhat surprisingly good because it was still a regular match, but with comedy stuff. Kofi and Xavier do get the win. Xavier hitting the springboard elbow for the 3 count. Then we had the faces versus the heels, the 6-man main event. The Singh brothers get thrown out early on because they interfere and whatever. And then eventually Orton hits an RKO on Jinder. Jinder rolls to the floor. Orton hits the DDT off the ropes to both the Singhs. AJ hits Kevin with a phenomenal forearm. And Sami Zayn gets a Kinshasa. And the faces celebrate and stand tall. And that's it. So all that build up and hype as to what went down at the Clash of Champions sort of delivered nothing. Which was nice. Next, we move into 205 Live. So from last week, Cedric Alexander beat Araya Davari. Kalisto beat Jack Gallagher. And then him and Kendrick attacked Kalisto afterwards. Metalik came out for the save. And then Tony Nese beat Enzo by DQ because Davari attacked Nese. And Nese basically gets kicked out of the Zo train by Drew being forced to beat down on Nese some further. And he does so. Very interesting stuff there. So from this week, we started off with Kalisto and Gran Metalik taking on Gallagher and Kendrick. And Kalisto and Gran Metalik win because Kendrick beats down on Kalisto despite not being the legal man, so he throws it at, because I guess it's good enough to do a throw out or whatever. And then afterwards, Gallagher gets a headbutt in on Kalisto, and then Metalik gets destroyed. Gets his leg smacked with the umbrella between the ring steps and the ring post and everything. And then also, as they walk up, I didn't notice this until Matthew brought it up. Somebody threw a bottle of water that managed to hit Callisto in the face. Bloody hell. Ooh, twats.
Pretty much.
Hideo Itami made his 205 live debut against Colin Delaney.
Wow.
Actually forgot about that. I don't think it was even listed. Oh no, it was last week's Smackdown. The Bludgeon Brothers beat up Colin Delaney and other jobber's name, which turned out to be Juan Francisco de Coronado from Chikara. The reason why I know that is because when one of the bits when they picked him up for a choke slam, Francisco did his usual high-pitched sort of screaming voice as if to go, ah! It's always actually fun. So then we had a Drew Gulak Cedric Alexander rematch, which Cedric won again with a lumbar check and whatever. And then Daivari gets a lumbar check because he tried to attack him from behind. But either way, I think Drew's realizing bad stuff is going down. Probably. And then we transition. Oh, quickly mention the main event stuff from this past week. Callisto beat Daivari, and Apollo Crews beat Kurt Hawkins. The losing streak continues. So then we get to NXT. Of course, the interesting thing about last week is it was on USA. Got relatively decent viewership. Not great. So they start up with Andrade Cien Almas versus Fabian Eichner. Eichner looked pretty good. But Almas wins with a hammerlock DDT. Then I think they had this on the main feed. There was a thing with Ember Moon and says that, you know, I want people to see me and think of a woman that can do anything. And, you know, Corey's, it's sort of a promo just on Ember, and Corey's hyping her up, Carmella's hyping her up, Charlotte and everything. And then they show highlights of her winning the title back at NXT TakeOver Houston. Then they have Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch versus the Authors of Pain. We see Authors of Pain win relatively quickly, I'd argue. Then they have a video package for the UK title match, which was this week, along with the announcement of Undisputed Era versus Sanity for the tag belts. With Eric Young doing a promo saying about the outcome of War Games wasn't ideal, but we haven't left the battlefield, and we'll start what we finish. We'll finish what we started in Houston next week. So then here's the bit that I didn't decide to put on the TV broadcast. The women's match. Hey, Stephanie, that Women's Revolution was good because you literally demoted them to being only on the show. You know, only on the network stuff, not on the actual television. And the thing is, although it was non-titled, the match of Peyton Royce was pretty solid. Ember getting the win with the Eclipse and everything. And then, of course, you get the Aussie beatdown by Peyton and Billie Kay. And then Nikki Cross runs in. Forces Billie to the floor. And forces Peyton out the ring. And Nikki looks at Ember and looks at the title belt. Runs around the ring and then stops in the ropes and then jumps the rail and goes out the building. So that happened. Then the Street Profits are outside Full Sail for street talk and talk to some regular fan. Then they hype up Adam Cole. Then they hype up Shayna Baszler. And then Aleister Black versus Adam Cole in the main event. Very good match as you expect, considering, you know, it's Adam Cole versus Tommy End. And Black wins a Black Mass, so Cole's undefeated streak is already gone.
It's very interesting that they would do that. But then again, they ran a huge issue where they had to put Aleister Black over if they wanted to go the direction they wanted to go.
Mm-hmm. For sure. So then that transitions into what happened tonight in the super long extended episode, because I don't know.
I'm all on this one for sure. I actually did get to watch this show.
Well, I think you said, dibs, I want to do the UK title match.
Well, yeah.
I was like, fine.
But first, we kicked off with Sanity of Eric Young and Killian Dane defending against Red Dragon, with Adam Cole, of course, at ringside, given the fact that it's Undisputed Era. Because of what happened at War Games, Alexander Wolf is not cleared to compete. That's the reason why they're using the rightful team that should be the team for Sanity. Good back and forth matchup here. Nikki Cross gets involved. She goes after Adam Cole. So they drag her away, literally kicking and screaming. Eric Young, it's Youngblood, gets near fall. Cole posts Dane when Dane tries to go for a running power slam on the outside. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you get a Tope Suicida. They get back in the ring when Eric Young just comes right in out of absolute nowhere, total elimination, and nice high-low for them. And we have new tag team champions. So Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish are the new NXT tag team champions. And it took like no time at all for this to happen. Excellent match.
It was. I'm surprised that they've done it so soon.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Adam Cole is the one that left without a title right now. It's very interesting.
I'm also surprised that that's Killian's second match.
Yeah?
Don't worry, people. He's got one more to go until he's finished with this set of tapings.
This is true. And we move on. Video packages galore. We get Roddy Strong and Shayna Baszler. Weird segment with Heavy Machinery and
they're still alive.
Riddick Moss and Tino Sabatelli.
Okay, on paper that does sound weird.
Yeah, it was very odd. Like they were like Heavy Machinery were walking around Full Sail like in the dark, and all of a sudden they ran into Sabatelli's car and they were like, "We need to get this out of here." And next thing you know, here they come, and so they're setting up tag matches with the two. So I'm like, okay, sure. We get highlights of Ruby Riott and Sonya Deville from a couple weeks ago. Sonya Deville talks. I don't care. She faces Ember Moon next week.
Why is she still on here?
She has one more match on the tapings, remember?
Yes, but it's continuity, motherfucker.
That doesn't happen. And no, we don't speak it. So we move on to the next part of the show, and that is a extremely hard-hitting match between Roddy Strong and Lars Sullivan for the final spot in the NXT Contenders 4-way. Really good. Really good. My God, Roddy brought the heat, and Lars just gave it back to him tenfold. This match was very vicious. A lot of forearms in this match. And Roddy got the superplex, but Lars like presses him off like a rag doll at a 1 count. Roddy's like, it ain't happening. But huge lariat, spins him like a top. Roddy ends up hitting a desperation Olympic slam for a near fall, a running knee strike. And Lars ends up catches him with the pop-up and the power slam and the freak accident, which is a very odd finisher. I'm not going to lie. I mean, it's a deadlift, like basic, it's a layout boss man slam, I guess the best way to put it. I mean, I guess it would make more sense if it was like a deadlift and a Uranagi, but like Giant Baba style, the only thing that would come to mind, honestly, that'd be a great finisher for him. But they're using this really odd finish for him. But Lars Sullivan is the real deal. The gimmick I'm not really over on. He kind of looks a little bit like not gonna lie, Lars Sullivan kind of looks a little bit like how Luke Gallows used to look asbestos back in the day. But he brings the strong style, and Roddy gave it back to him tenfold. It was great because at one point he was trying to dive bomb him on the middle rope, and he got caught. So Roddy started hitting running forearms and tried to finish him off with a knee, and then of course that's how he ended up getting the shot with the big lariat. Good stuff. Now he's going to be taking on the one of these things is not like the other match. So you got Tommy and Johnny Gargano and Big Davo and Lars Sullivan.
Yeah, if you think about that.
Just think Roddy and Chris.
Big guy and David.
Yeah.
It's David versus Goliath versus Goliath versus Goliath.
And this match could have been Aleister Black, Johnny Gargano, Chris Hero, and Roderick Strong. But obviously they couldn't have done that because that's the way that they wanted to book it. So
Hoss fight.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's definitely a Hoss fight. And Johnny Gargano. So
yes. Next
week that's gonna happen, and looking forward to that. Winner faces Andrade Cien Almas. I'm guessing that's officially at TakeOver at Royal Rumble weekend.
No, I take offense to one of the comments you did in the last match.
How's that?
You mentioned the match with Strong Style.
Oh boy.
No. After what aired that made the show run overtime.
No, this is British Strong Style we're talking about.
No, this is any Strong Style. It may involve people that are British Strong Style, but it was generic. But it's basically Strong Style you'd expect.
This match. My God. I mean, I can keep up with this stuff. And as you guys have been listening for a while, you know that I can. And I was really awesome, like calling this like over the phone with Ashley, like talking to him while I was doing this. I was like, this is amazing. Tyler Bate knocks people out straight up. That's how it works.
That's why he's the bruiserweight.
Yeah, this was good stuff. They brawled on the floor. Pete Dunne hit a superplex off the ring steps to the outside. Thought that was really well done. And Pete Dunne's attacking of the fingers of Tyler Bate made me long for a Pete Dunne Marty Scurll match down the line. Please make this happen somewhere, somehow.
It might have happened over the weekend.
Ah, yes.
That show in Malaysia, all I do know is British Strong Style and Marty Scurll were on it, so I don't know.
Possible.
We'll never know.
Standing shooting star press from Tyler Bate for a near fall. He hit a deadlift backdrop driver with a bridge for a near fall. Tyler driver 97, countered triangle, and Tyler Bate does a deadlift and power bombs him out of it. But the triangle's locked on, and he picks him up again, and he basically like slingshots him in under the bottom rope. I thought that was really well done. Spin and then right into the reverse airplane spin. He does a deadlift and he spins like he's going out of style. They fall to the canvas, gets a desperation cover, gets a near fall, and they hit the superplex back into the ring. The outside in superplex that Cesaro does, actually. Got a near fall off of that. So then they literally just go straight, I'm going to kill you. And they start stomping each other and kicking each other as hard as they can. Pete Dunne hits a desperation bitter end, gets a near fall off of it. And the next thing you know, he hits a step up ensiguri kick. Bate comes back with I guess you look at it depending on how you see it. It was either a really straight up shote, like a nice like palm strike, or it was a lariat. It just depends on how you look at it, because he does that spot obviously where he bounces off his neck on the top rope, and then he rebounds off, and then Dunne hits one as well. So they fight from their knees. They're beating the daylights out of each other. Big right hand, and the great thing is the entire match, Pete Dunne has been working on the hand, so he can't capitalize, so he can't do anything. Tyler Bate hits a desperation capo kick, knocking him off the ring apron. And then Tyler Bate goes to the top rope. Pete Dunne dims his running lights with the elbow. Like, it's like one of the most vicious forearms, just kind of like what their first match was. And hits the proper version of Kenta Kobashi's Orange Crush for a near fall. They go back to the floor, and the lariat makes the count go down, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Tyler Bate with a tope, not a suicida, but just a tope over the top rope. Tyler driver, Pete Dunne kicks out at a near fall, and then he goes up top one last time. Sky Twister headbutt, because it was basically, he was going for the spiral tap, but he basically got nothing but just barely glancing him. Dunne kicks out. They fight up again, and it looks like that Dunne is going to get caught with a spider German suplex, but it was basically just a super German because he didn't have his legs like grapevine in the ropes like in the tree of Joey Lawrence. So Dunne flips out, lands on his feet, hits the bitter end, and retains the UK Championship in about 23 minutes of solid television, my friends. My God. Once again, the UK providing the WWE Match of the Year candidates. It happens. That's just how it is.
Mm-hmm. Seems legit.
Oh, yeah, totally. So, yeah, that was NXT. Welcome, Logan Burton chat. He said, I missed this. Sorry, Logan. But the best part of Raw is Matt Hardy playing chess with a fish. That speaks volumes of how bad this show was. Yeah, Tyler and Pete.
Somewhat agree.
Another instant classic. Wow, what a fantastic match. Yes, absolutely. That's the reason I enjoy talking about matches like this, because number one, it puts me to the test as a commentator, and number two, it's just fun. It's just fun to talk about. So, yeah, that was your show. Now we have WWE completely covered. Let's go into the world of mixed martial arts for a bit.
So, a few weeks worth of stuff to cover. The big thing that's sort of come up recently is it seems as if our boy Floyd might be wanting to get into MMA. Maybe.
Oh boy.
Because Dana's basically saying, oh yeah, he's interested. I don't know. At the minute, I can't look at anything because apparently none of my web browsers are working.
That's not good.
Yet somehow this call is still going.
Thank God for that.
I don't know. But yeah, it broke in the last day or two. Well, broke sort of today, but I think it's been over the last day or whatever. I don't know whether you want to read it, anything into it. Who knows? Let's hope not, because it's already sort of a laughing stock already with the characters that we've got. If we have him coming in, and the weird thing is, if he's a success of it, it'll be like, ugh. Anyway, so in terms of results, obviously there's no show this weekend because of Christy Mass. There is one next week, but we'll preview that obviously next Wednesday.
Yep.
So the fight night from Fresno. The main event saw Brian Ortega beat Cub Swanson with a mid-second round stoppage due to a guillotine choke submission. That did get a $50,000 bonus. Ortega then got another $50,000 for performance of the night, so he may have tripled his money, I don't know. But we at least got another $100,000, which is the maximum bonus you can obviously get. The other bonus, though, for performance went to the undercard of the Fox Sports 1 main, or I guess the undercard of the main card, with Marlon Morales' 67-second knockout of Alameen Sterling with a good old knee strike. Also, some interesting stuff on the main card as well. Gabriel Benitez beating Jason Knight unanimous decision, with Knight getting deducted a point for biting Benitez's fingers. Either way, the two judges gave it 30-26, which obviously would have been 30-27. And the other was 29-27, which would have been 29-28. So it didn't sway it in any other way, like, oh, he would have won sort of thing. Liz Carmouche on the prelims lost to Alexis Davis. On a split decision, though, two judges gave it 29-28 to Alexis Davis. The other judge giving it 29-28 to Carmouche. So pretty close there. So then we get to the only thing I can remember from Bellator, because I've remembered that I forgot to get the results for that. Roy McDonald won his debut fight there, so that's all I can remember off the top of my head. Then we come to this past week, UFC on Fox. If I can find it for all the Ring of Honor text that I've got. There it is. Lolo and Dos Anjos from Winnipeg. The interesting stuff that went on down here, there was obviously an overweight fighter, as usual. However, the interesting one was there was a flyweight bout that was supposed to be between Tim Elliott and Justin Scoggins. But Justin had to pull out the fight a few weeks back due to a spinal fracture that he got and was replaced by Pietro Menga. Come the day of the weigh-ins, Menga didn't even weigh in. So the fight got cancelled. Bit harsh. So, in terms of the main card that was aired free on Fox, Glover Teixeira beat Misha Serkinov for first round TKO. Santiago Ponzinibbio beat Mike Perry via unanimous decision 29-28 across all three judges. In a catchweight fight, because Josh Emmett weighed in over the featherweight limit, it still happened as a catchweight with Emmett winning very late on in the first with a knockout punch. And then Rafael Dos Anjos beat Robbie Lawler 50-45 across all three judges. So a comprehensible routing in the UFC welterweight title eliminator match. So I think that means he's #1 contender now. In terms of the bonuses, interestingly, by the looks of it, it went to everything that was on the prelims on Fox Sports 1. Fight of the night went to the match which saw Julian Marquez beating Darren Stewart with a second-round guillotine choke midway through that second round. They both got 50,000. And then performance of the night, Nordine Taleb beating Danny Roberts in 59 seconds with a nice kick and a punch. That got him 50,000. And then also in the middleweights, Alessio Di Chirico beating Oluwale Bangbose with a knee strike knockout midway through the second round. Meant it was enough to get the win and the thing, the or something. So with that, I think that's everything I can do for now.
Okay. So there you go. And now we move on to Ring of Honor because we got Final Battle to talk about. We've got the tapings to talk about.
2 weeks of TV.
2 weeks of television to talk about. So let's get into Ring of Honor.
So first up on the TV, if I can find it in the notes, the previous, the pre-pay-per-view one. So we had Kenny King defending the TV title against Caprice Coleman, which was pretty good. Shane Taylor jumping in to try and distract Kenny King, but it didn't result in anything because King won with the spinebuster raw flush combination that he has at the end. Still pretty good though. Then Addiction cut a promo on War Machine and their cowardly attack on them. And they have a little interaction to build up to the pay-per-view. Then the Briscoes called out Bully Ray and Tommy Dreamer. And then Joe Koff getting involved. And, you know, it's interesting. You know, Joe Koff was like, you know, you've let your fans down, but if you want a match, it's going to be violent, extreme, and fucking hardcore. Joe Koff said fucking. What? Then we have Matt Taven versus Jay Lethal. Taven winning after Skull provided the umbrella, but Lethal refused to use it. And then Taven rolled him up. And then we had the Cody Dalton contract signing, which was a nice little bit. And Cody was in fur and sitting with Brandy with a meat and cheese plate and a waiter with some wine. And you know, it's like, this is a big deal. But Castle can't, you know, he can't change it.
Bake sale?
Castle said, look, I'm happy to hear that you're coming to the company to raise the profile, but you know, you're dressing ridiculously, Cody. And they signed the contract and they stared each other down. And then, I guess if we're going chronologically, we get to Final Battle, which was a pretty solid pay-per-view, I will say. It delivered. Basically, it had to because it is one of their big ones. So on the pre-show, Cheeseburger and the mystery partner, which was Delirious, lost to the dogs of Rhett Titus and Will Ferreira. Pretty short match. Then we had Jonathan Gresham versus Josh Woods, which Gresham won. Good little technical bout. The that Gresham, as I said, won. Then Taven and Ospreay. It sort of started slow, but then built to sort of crazy pace stuff at the end, culminating in an Os cutter being attempted by Ospreay, but being blocked, and then Taven hits the climax, and Taven gets the win. They are starting to push him, it seems. Then we have War Machine versus The Addiction, with War Machine getting the win.
That's very interesting.
With Hansen keeping Kazarian at bay with a top rope with a tope suicida, and then sliding back into the ring to hit Daniels with a leg drop side suplex combo.
Fallout.
Go over on the pay-per-view. Yeah. Out of
I wish I could. I wanted to see this so bad. Of course, I was busy over the weekends. I really couldn't, but I mean, I want to go back and check it out because I heard there was some really good stuff on Final Battle.
So then Lethal versus Skull happened, and this was interesting because we got to the end, and Skull got an umbrella that basically Lethal tried to get earlier on the show, or he took away, sorry. So then he had a second, apparently spare, smacked him in the head. 1-2 kick out. And then while the referee was throwing the umbrella out the ring, Lethal Ric Flair low blows Marty. Hits him with a lethal injection. And Lethal wins. Via heelish tactics. So that's an interesting sort of like twist on the affair. I would argue. So, yes. Then we had the Motor City Machine Guns versus the Best Friends for the tag titles. Motor City Machine Guns retained. The great thing is, though, the Machine Guns got booed.
Really?
Heavily.
Well, they're facing the Best Friends, so that makes sense.
Yeah, that's the issue. So basically, Machine Guns made the most of it. They even did a hug spot just to really rub it in and whatever. So, you know, it's just weird that this is a group of faces, but they're being booed because of the quality of Best Friends. There you go. So then the 4-way for the TV title. Kenny, King, Silas Young, Punishment Martinez, and Shane Taylor. Taylor was the first to go via Punishment Martinez in a springboard corkscrew. So then Taylor, in revenge, is sort of after some interaction and stuff, hits Kenny with a beer bottle. So he got knocked out. And then just as Punishment Martinez was about to win, as it appeared, Beer City Bruiser stopped the pinfall. They brawled, which then allowed Silas to recover, hit Misery, get the free count, and Silas Young is your new World TV champion.
It's about time they pulled the trigger on Silas Young, to say the least.
Pretty much.
They've been building him, that feud with Jay Lethal, and all this stuff he's been doing in Ring of Honor. To be quite honest, it makes perfect sense that they finally do it as we go into a new calendar year.
Then the New York Street fight with the Briscoes and Bully Ray and Tommy Dreamer. The Briscoes winning because they hit a 3D, but the table didn't break. So Mark did the froggy bow to make sure. What makes me think that they're going to get cheered by whoever it is that's supposed to be the heel team? If it's the Motor City Machine Guns in terms of the tag titles.
It's a very good possibility.
Be awkward.
Yeah, I'd say so.
So then the Hung Bucks defending the 6-man tag titles against Dragon Lee Titan and Flip Gordon. This was your usual Bucks and CMLL stuff. Lots of high tempo, high face, flippy dippy shit. Which apparently pissed off Daniel Cormier.
I saw that. What happened with this?
I don't know. He was like, I don't want to see flippy shit in my wrestling. And it's like, don't watch then. But then again, considering how much of a wrestling fan he is, it's like, it's weird how he hasn't accustomed himself to that. Either way, the Hung Bucks win with a combination indie taker rite of passage on Dragon Lee and Flip Gordon. But then afterwards, the Addiction and Scorpio Sky run out, beat down both teams and hold up the titles. So that's
I'm okay with this.
Interesting stuff.
So we're just going to call it the SoCal connection here are going to be the ones that are going to go after the 6-man tag belts next. That's what it looks like.
So then all the women come out, or at least the women that could cut them, including Mayu Iwatani. And it's announced that there's going to be a Women of Honor World Championship in 2018, with tournament matches starting as soon as the first tapings in January. So that looks promising to say. And then Dalton Castle versus Cody Rhodes. Cody coming out with blonde hair.
Loved it.
The great thing is, for quite a while, the crowd were behind Dalton. Not behind Dalton, they were behind Cody. And whatever. But either way, Todd Sinclair, of course, got knocked out. Dalton had a submission locked in, but of course, with the referee being out because of Cody, there was no referee's count. Then Cody hit Crossroads, but Dalton kicked out. And then Dalton hits Bangarang, gets the win, and Dalton Castle is your new Ring of Honor World Champion.
I mean, it does make sense. You really think about it. I mean, we did talk about this previously, saying that, you know, if they really want, I mean, I have no idea what they're doing in New Japan, but I have an idea. And if it were me, the direction I would go would be Cody drop the title so he could lose to Kota Ibushi to build up Ibushi for the challenger to Tetsuya Naito when he beats Okada at the Dome. Because I really think they're putting the title on Naito. Because what they're going to do is they're going to transition the belt from Naito to Ibushi and do Ibushi and Omega and have Omega finally get the championship, trying to get the IWGP title from Kota Ibushi. I think that's exactly the direction we're going.
In time for Mania?
That's exactly what I'm thinking.
Or what I should say Mania, I mean the March show.
Yeah, I know that since, of course, we've got a potential AJ Nakamura match at WrestleMania this year. I mean, who knows? They're going to try to deliver an in-ring action everywhere across the boards this year. And in 2018, I really think that they're really going to hype it up. And every company is going to start really being on their top of the game. Even though it sounds like that, from the news I was reading, it sounds like Impact is trying to mend its fences with Don Callis to try to go after New Japan talent. So he made these things in New Japan talent potentially working in the Impact Zone.
Who knows?
Which would benefit me greatly.
Who knows?
We'll see what happens. We'll get to that stuff later, though. But yeah, congratulations to Dalton Castle. I'm glad they finally pulled the trigger on him. We've been building up Castle for a while now, and the general storyline progression makes perfect sense here. And I think it's going to be a great idea to have him as champion, at least for a little bit.
So then we transition into the TV broadcast. Because if we're going chronologically, because of course the TV tapings are still to air, I think like in January by the looks of the timings.
Right.
Because the show that aired on Saturday was the second set of tapings from Lakeland. Opened up with Addiction beating Coast to Coast. Pretty good match, I will say. And you know, you could really sense the frustration that Addiction are having. Oh, sorry, no, it was the frustration in Coast to Coast with losing and everything. Because Leon St. Giovanni got hit with the best Meltzer ever. Then afterwards, Leon grabbed the mic and said, you know, they keep getting the same results over and over the past year and keep failing. And then Shaheem Ali comes in and says, look, unless we win our next match, perhaps we should call it quits. Got an interesting little tease and moves in there. So then Shane Taylor beat Eli Esom. I don't know. Weird name. Shane won either way. Next, the Young Bucks were doing a promo, which then Marty thought he was involved with, even though he wasn't. Then we had Coleman's Pulpit with Brandy Rhodes, talking about Wags and Brandy's wrestling career. And then saying how she's already ahead of Caprice Coleman. Shots fired. Bah, 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 bah. And then for the six-man tag titles, the Elite, this time because of the free free and desist, or whatever you want to call it, because you can't call it free, bud. Omega and the Bucks face, I guess, Roppongi best friends of Rocky Romero, Trent Brett, and Chucky T. Very solid. Good wrestling.
Still upset.
With Elite winning and retaining after hitting the assisted leapfrog one-winged angel and the cease and desist submission. Getting the Bucks the win for their team. So that's pretty solid.
Still unhappy with this. I mean, I should have been in Lakeland for these shows, but unfortunately I could not make it. So maybe next time Ring of Honor is down my way, hopefully I can finally see the show, at which it'll be tough, but I want to go really bad.
So now we've got to go through 5 hours of TV tapings.
This is why these shows go so long, ladies and gentlemen.
Because that's the way it went. Tough Guy Inc., Brutal Bob Evans and Tim Hughes beat Ryan Nova and somebody.
That's a good sign.
Well, it says a partner of his.
Oh,
doesn't specify who it is in the notes that I've got here. Then Bonesaw Jesse Brooks beat Gabby Ortiz, which means she qualifies for the Women of Honor tournament. It's good to see Bonesaw getting a chance. So then the show actually opens with Dalton cutting a promo saying it's been a long time coming. You know, coming to Ring of Honor was never a mistake. People said I'd never be champion. And No, he's not a big big fish in a small pond, but a megalodon swimming through the entire ocean. So here comes Lethal challenging him and says, a lot of people are going to be gunning for you, and I only request that I be at the top of the list. And Dalton's like, fine. And then Punishment Martinez showed up to attack Dalton. So then TV title challenge match. Silas Young retained over Simon Grimm. Pretty solid match, certainly. Then afterwards, Kenny cut a very angry match, saying how the beer bottle was used on him to eliminate him from the match. And Silas is just like, that's how business works. Means to an end. And sure, I know you got a rematch, but I've had 8 beers already, so I'm not in a good mood to fight. And then Kenny King spat a beer in Silas's face. So then Briscoes beat Ryan Nova and a person. Basically just a simple squash match. Marty Scurll beat Flip Gordon with a last shot. Ben Brandy Rhodes beat Stella Gray to qualify for the Women of Honor tournament. Jay Lethal beat Will Ospreay with lethal injection. Said to be a pretty solid match. Then Kenny King beat Brian Malonis with a neck breaker. Apparently, from what it seemed like, Malonis might have been hired by Beer City Bruiser and whatever, because all of them beat down Kenny King afterwards. So then Bad Influence and Scorpio Sky show up and say that Scorpio Sky is the hottest new talent in Ring of Honor. They're calling themselves SoCal Uncensored.
Oh my God, they're using the name I'm thinking they were going to use. It's the name of the old defunct website.
Yes.
Heck yes.
But they were interrupted by Joe Koff and says, look, I know people don't want to see me. But they want to see the best wrestlers, not the most disruptive. And he thought about firing him, and Kazarian wanted to fight and whatever. And Daniels went, look, when I was champion, Joe, I'd stop by the office where we talk about all the grand plans that you had. And if we're going to be fired, hell, I might discuss those grand plans with the likes of my good friend Don Callis, or perhaps one of my best friends named AJ, who'd have the ears of some exec somewhere else. And Koff says, look, I'm a businessman. I'm not firing you. But I've spoken with my attorney. And the fact of the matter is, your contract expires in a year. And by the time Final Battle 2018 comes around, you're not going to be here anymore. So are we going to get into winter of 2018 the winter of Bad Influence?
I think it's a good possibility, and it's about time, too.
Somebody getting the world title, somebody getting the TV title, and they both blow a kiss to Joe Koff or something. Dalton and the boys beat the Kingdom when Dalton made Vinny tap to the Julie Newmar
It's always good when that happens in the middle of a live show. Pretty sure if I'm not imagining things, I just heard Julie Newmar's submission, and I'm like, I'm very curious how that works. Honestly, because when I type into the Googles, Julie Newmar wrestling is really not much that comes off. So yeah, I'm very curious about that. Maybe when Ashley comes back, he can explain a little bit more for us. But yeah, I mean, he'll be finishing the Ring of Honor tapings in just a few minutes. Hopefully, we can get him back on as soon as we can. I'm trying to fill time here. Another thing I want to talk about real quick, Ring of Honor is going to be going into, and that is the Chris Jericho cruise. Yes, that's another thing that kind of ties into it. So the Rock and Wrestling Rager at Sea, October 27th through Halloween next year from Miami to Nassau, and you can book right now. If you go to chrisjerichocruise.com, you get more information. And so there's going to be a lot of really cool things. I want to talk about this. So we've got Jim Ross, Jerry the King Lawler. They're going to be there. You've also have Diamond Dallas Page, Mick Foley, Ricky the Dragon Speedboat, and Raven. Podcast, Busted Open Radio, keeping it 100, killing the town and beyond the darkness. We have performances by Phil Campbell and the Bastard Sons, King, the Dives, as well as Jim Brewer and the Loudy and Rowdy, Shoot to Thrill, the Blizzard of Ozzy, and comedians Jim Brewer and Ron Funches. And the big one is going to be a couple of other things. Why does this involve Ring of Honor? Well, Ring of Honor is going to be having the Sea of Honor tournament, hosted by Ring of Honor, and that's going to feature participants Cody, the Young Bucks, Dalton Castle, the Villain Marty Skrull, J. Mark Briscoe, Brandy Rhodes. They're going to be in attendance, among others. Also going to be on the ship, Rey Mysterio, as well as SoCal Val, which will be the guest cruise director. There, we got that coming up. Fozzie's going to be performing. The Cherry Bomb's going to be performing on the stage as well. The Dave Spivak Project going to be there. And also Brad Williams will be doing comedy as well. So all that's available on the Chris Jericho cruise. There's going to be meet and greets. There's going to be activities that are not necessarily wrestling related and some that are. DDP Yoga will be on board. There's going to be meet and greet sessions. And as of right now, the meet and greets will actually be featuring pretty much everyone I mentioned. So yeah, so check those out. The meet and greets are available currently. There's a lot of cool things on the Norwegian Jade, which is going to be the ship that you're going to be on. There's swimming pools and hot tubs. There's a casino on board. There's a spa, a fitness center, a jogging and walking track, which, you know, if you've been following along on my Twitter, that I've been very accustomed to lately. Sports courts take advantage as well. And there's going to be a actual physical wedding ceremony. Chris Jericho is going to marry a couple on board the cruise itself. So if you go to chrisjerichocruise.com/wedding/ you can actually fill out your story. And if you are chosen, Chris Jericho will officiate your wedding. So how cool is that? Yeah, absolutely. More things that are going to be coming up. So there's theme nights are going to be involved in the nights as well. Really cool stuff. Like you get to dress up. A lot of cool things on the ship. Now, I will say one thing. Let's talk about the pricing really quick. I know it's the middle of the Ring of Honor portion of the podcast, but Ashley kind of bombed out, so I need to fill air. So you can book as low as $150 per person for your cabin. And you have availability right now. If you do a single room, you actually have to pay a single occupancy fee. I know I got gypped by this on the Disney Fantasy when I was on. So there are many things that are available. There's interior rooms, porthole rooms, obstructed ocean view rooms, ocean view balcony, as well as midship and aft-facing balcony mini suites with midship and aft-facing mini suites, a penthouse romance suite, penthouse suite, and family penthouse suite, and the owner suite. This goes everywhere from $749 for 2 guests, that's per person, all the way up to a staggering $8,381 for the owner's suite, and that is for a single guest. That's with the supplement as well. So taxes and fees are going to cost you about $225 per person, so that's on top of the price listed. So that's there if you really want to take advantage of it. So the port is going to be in Miami, and now I see Ashley's back. We will be talking more about the Rock and Wrestling Rager from Chris Jericho in the near future. But Ashley, back to more Ring of Honor.
Why did I get cut off? Because
I'm not exactly sure.
basically, we just had some Women of Honor stuff. I mean, this is TV stuff and everything. We had the. Did you get the Taven smacking Cody in the balls bit?
I don't think so.
Wow, I don't even know where it got cut off. Did you get the Daniels promo referencing Don Callis?
Yes, I got that.
No, you didn't got that much. Okay. So yeah, Dalton and the boys beat Kingdom. Then they established Taven as a contender for the title. The one thing I will say about this is they've left it up in the air as to it doesn't seem clear as to who's challenging at the anniversary show.
Good point.
Because we had Punishment Martinez for some stuff. We had some Cody stuff because obviously he's got every right to a rematch, which is brought up in the promo where Taven low blowed him, and Punishment Martinez wanting some sort of interaction as well. Then there was sort of women's reaction, sort of little fights and everything with Kelly Klein, who was watching on commentary, and Deonna Purrazzo and whatever, and Mayu Iwatani from Stardom showing up because you know, reasons. And then afterwards, I mean, well, Bully Ray said his farewell, saying that basically Final Battle was his final battle. And Leafwood said some very kind words. SoCal Uncensored won the 6-man. Although it is worth noting, apparently, that Page might have tweaked his ankle when doing his top rope moonsault to the floor. Whether that's real or not, who knows? And eventually finished with, I guess, a post-match brawl, which probably won't be on TV. It was just for the live crowd because Page was filming some of it with his phone. There was a super kick party. Kazarian Daniels got locked in submission holds as Marty sung a Backstreet Boys song. And then Brandy came out to hit a stunner on Kazarian. And that's the 5 hours of tapings done. Which, you know, considering it's 4 episodes, is probably fair.
All right. We move from Ring of Honor to what's going on in Impact.
So this is back to 2 weeks worth of stuff because we got to catch up on this. Taiji Ishimori beat Caleb Conley in a pretty decent opener. Then we had the Sienna, Rosemary, and Ali triple threat to see who faces Laurel Van Ness for the title match, which Rosemary wins after blocking a monkey flip and hitting the Red Wedding on Ali. Then we had OVE in the ring. It says both Canada and Mexico are bullcrap, and I don't care. You know, it's all the same thing. You know, then the feud they've got with LAX is past the point of wrestling. It's gang warfare. You know, LAX will get the rematch, but it's under their rules because we're from Ohio, which is the heart of America. Because it's Ohio versus Ottawa's Canada's asshole because they're Ohio versus everything. Wait. So both of these teams are heels.
Right.
What?
Yep, that's how it works.
Then Tabernacle team show up, speaking in French, and Sammy Callan's like, speak American. So they attack him. And then LAX attack him. And I don't know. And then Gail Kim finds Ali backstage, and Ali's upset that she lost her shot and whatever. And Gail gives her a pep talk and says, "Don't worry, it'll be your time soon." By the way, apparently Gail Kim's having her last UK match in February, it turns out. So she isn't even retiring from wrestling in 2017. So much for that. KM's going to the gym to try and prove himself to American Top Team. And then beats up some homeless guy.
That's always fun.
Then they get to the LAX clubhouse, and apparently Conan's going to have a word with Sami Callihan about moving product through his territory. Then EC3 versus Matt Sydal, which went to a draw. Remember, the rulings were that this wasn't supposed to be able to happen. The idea is there has to be it'll be basically a 1918, it could be a 2019 or 1918 or a 2017, whatever. Like the judges. One's got to have a 10 and one's got to have a 9. So how it's a draw, I don't know. Crappy finish to a relatively good match, which you'd expect considering it's, Derek Bateman and Evan Bourne. Then we get Lashley and Lambert versus Moose and James Storm, which finished with Lashley hitting the spear on Storm and then Lambert stealing the tag and pinning Storm for the win. And then we get the main event, Eli Drake and Chris Adonis versus Pete Williams and Johnny Impact. The faces win with a leaping Inseguri and a Starship Pain on Adonis to get the victory. And then Alberto shows up, attacks Drake from behind and gives him a DDT on the belt. Whose side is he on? The answer is who cares? So now it's time for the number one contenders match. So yeah, we're having another number one contenders match between Sienna, Casey Spinelli, Madison Rayne, and Ali. Ali wins it, rolling up Sienna. So that's an interesting one. So I guess we know what's going to be happening with that in a week or so. Then we had Desmond Xavier and Taiji Ishimori beating Trevor Lee and Caleb Conley. With Ishimori getting a victory roll on Trevor Lee. So I'm guessing that means Ishimori might actually be getting his title shot for the X Division soon. In reality. Then there was the American Top Team Storm and Moose confrontations over the weeks package. Then Alberto finds Impact and Pete Williams backstage and says, management's forcing me to team with you guys tonight, but hey, sometimes accidents happen. Okay. Then, because no original stuff can exist, we're getting a flashback of the last 5 minutes of where Gail Kim became the first Knockouts champion 10 years ago. And then Eli Drake and Chris Adonis talking with Jimmy Jacobs, because apparently Jacobs is the manager of Congo Kong. I guess. Alberto winning with a headbutt on Drake to get the win. It was complicated as all hell, though, because, of course, the faces, even though clearly Alberto isn't a face, aren't getting along with each other. And, Congo Kong and Jimmy Jacobs probably have a different motive to what Drake and Adonis want, so who knows? Little confusing, but pretty interesting. Then we have to get a recap of the Legion of Doom beating up people at the asylum in Nashville. And then Alberto will challenge Eli Drake for the global title on the first Impact of 2018. So that'll be the January 5th show. I think that's the last one of the tapings from what I remember.
Should be, because the next week Impact comes over here.
Mm-hmm. So then Chandler Park finds Joseph backstage and says, I'm going to follow you into the wrestling business. And Joe's like, look, don't. And Chandler's like, Parks are fighters. What are you doing, Ethan?
I
What
think
are
he's
you
just having
doing?
fun.
Yeah, still, what is he doing?
Making money. Being on television.
I wouldn't say there's a lot of money in bloody, Have you not seen the promos? Pollock! Ting! Post-wrestling. Shout out to those guys. Christmas Eve is going to be fun. So then they set up the Lambert and Storm stuff, saying Lambert basically says Storm's the face of Impact Wrestling, so how about I take the face out of Impact Wrestling? I will face you as long as you put your career on the line. If I lose, I'll leave, but if you lose, Storm, you leave forever. Which basically means 6 months, because they'll be that desperate. And then the main event, Laurel Van Ness and Rosemary for the Knockouts title. Pretty good match. Laurel managing to duck the mist from Rosemary, get what did land on a smear in Rosemary's own eyes, hit a top rope unprettier, and Laurel wins. Of course, the irony about this, she wants her release. And then the closing segment, because yes, that Sami Callihan-Conan meeting's happening. So Conan's sitting on the bench and Sami's like, oh, I'm freezing my balls off. And Conan says, I don't respect your opinion. And your emotions disarm your intelligence. You're oblivious to your own ignorance. I'm not going to argue with somebody that's abandoned logic. And Sami's like, look, we're here to take over your territories. There's nothing you can do about it. And Conan says, we want the tag belts because I'm losing a lot of paper. And Sami says, fine, we'll have a match. But one condition. If we win, there's no more LAX, no more Conan. They leave and Ohio versus everything takes over everything. And Conan's like, but that's all my tattoo parlors. That's my girlfriend. And that little chihuahua. Yeah, we're going to burn down all your lives and you'll wish you were with Weinstein, Cosby, O'Reilly, and Spacey after this.
Oh, boy.
Who's writing this shit?
I don't know, and I'm curious. Someone that's trying to put a finger on pop culture right now.
And Sami's response to this is throwing a fireball into Conan's face and saying that he's a bitch. And that's how you end Impact this week.
Oh my God!
What?
So the funny thing is, you use,
which means that the Christmas episode is gonna be fuck you, James Storm.
So sad.
Speaking of,
before we go anywhere, I do want to mention a couple things in chat from One Triple S has joined us.
Oh no.
He says, how was NXT? I can't see it tomorrow because of Hulu. It's awesome. Go check it out.
Yes.
Excellent show. It's about an hour and 15 minutes?
I'd say all 4 matches were pretty good.
Yeah, I totally agree. It was an excellent show. He said, I hear there's a title change in New Japan.
Not yet.
Getting there. Laurel must want to go to WWE.
Yet.
WWE because
Oh, no. You are right. It went down. We'll get to that because it did go down on the Kurikan Hall shows this weekend.
Okay.
Sorry, I forgot that they have a 6-man tag belt because
Yeah, they do.
we've been so engrossed in the tag league for the past like 3 or 4 weeks.
Right.
And of course, Wrestle Kingdom, there's sort of 2 matches that stand out in that. But other ones got added. We have the full card for that now. That should be very promising. But either way,
Here,
more from 3S's 1
here's
out.
right. Here's the issue. Another question. Another thing that One Triple S says is Laurel must have wanted to go to WWE because of Zack Ryder. I don't think so,
She
honestly.
was already there.
Yeah, she's already been there before.
They let her go because apparently if you actually win Tough Enough, you can fuck off.
Pretty much.
That's the rules, apparently, because, she's... I don't know if she... Come to think of it, didn't she... Oh, no, she went out because she was injured.
Right.
It's Sarah Lee that I'm getting confused with that got released.
Shame.
To be honest, I think... One, she realizes that she ain't going to do a lot in Impact. And obviously, with the deal that she's got, she can only do what they want, which realistically means she can't do Shimmer
Right.
because it's on WWN. She can't do Shine because it's on WWN. Considering she's a relative newbie, the amount of experience she could get in Japan if she was able to do Stardom shows would be pretty big.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Plus, she can probably book her own stuff for the UK shows because, you got Pro Wrestling Eve with their big show in May, being headlined by Viper versus Aja Kong, which is going to be ridiculous, among other stuff. I think she's just wanting a little more freedom, being able to actually book things that will be beneficial to her career. I also partly think, especially considering what's happened this past week with the rumors of Scott Hall being in some sort of vodka rage this week, and the video that surfaced of Just Incredible being drunk and disorderly and now having to get some rehab from DDP, I think she realizes that having her portray a character who's drunk all the time and just so happens to be winning wrestling matches, might be a bad thing in this day and age. Especially when you take into account how they say, that drunk women are easy. Especially in this time of all the shit that's going down with sexual harassment and sexual assault and other stuff. You might realize that character, the shelf life might have expired on it. And knowing how Impact works, that means she'd be in the character for another 2.5 years.
Pretty much. But, I mean, to be quite honest, when it comes down to it, you do notice that she's still doing the Laurel Van Ness character in other companies. She's Chelsea Green a lot of places when she's doing Laurel Van Ness, but she's still doing the gimmick.
To some extent, but in some shows, she's actually being
Herself.
advertised as herself.
Right. I've seen those shows too.
But then other times she's being advertised as Laurel Van Ness.
Right.
So it's she's sort of both. Depending on, what gig she's got and everything. I still say, if she can make her name as Chelsea Green again and prove to WWE, because it's not like she left on like bad terms or anything. I think as 3S's rightfully said, I don't think it's Ryder that's the feelers. I just think it's like she feels. I mean, hell, I think there's plenty of spaces at the minute, considering we need a 30 women for the Royal Rumble, apparently. Or something. It's a little ridiculous.
He did say something about Puma not in Lucha Underground. He loves the match with Mysterio, wonders if he's going to WWE. It sounds like it's a foregone conclusion that Ricochet and War Machine are going to NXT.
Yeah.
Very soon, like within January is what it sounds like right now. Probably going to the Performance Center.
It's one of the cases that it's like expect it to sort of be announced in the press release sooner rather than later. It sort of feels inevitable to some extent, I would argue.
If you have any more commentary, 1SSS, as always, just feel free to leave it in the chat. We'll be glad to put over your comments. No problem whatsoever.
Get some good discussions going on.
Yeah, indeed. Impact, of course, like I said before, I've said this a billion times. I'm going to say it again. ShopTNA.com if you want to check out, or is it ShopImpact.com now? I think you can go both ways. Yeah, if you go to ShopTNA.com, it comes up. ShopImpact.com. Backstage Pass for Orlando, January 10th, January 15th. That is currently available right now. And I have a feeling it'll probably go down in price because it's Black Friday. That's my guess.
I'm sort of thinking it won't, because have you looked at the bloody...
Well, I'm going to get to it. Don't worry.
Oh.
This is fun. So let's talk about this, shall we?
Oh, yeah. Fun in really inverted commas.
It's kind of like when they did no offense, it's kind of like when they did the things when Tammy Sitch would do the pictures in her lingerie at wrestling conventions. It's kind of the same vibe I'm getting here. No disrespect, it's just what they've come up with.
I was looking through it because I was trying to find out what shows were coming up soon. And Demand Lucha, that was formerly known as Lucha TO or Lucha in the Six, the Toronto-based promotion.
Right.
Apparently, a few weeks back, let me get the thing. Yeah, a few weeks back, we're doing Lucha Libre Wrestling at the Everything to Do with Sex show, which is basically an adult movie convention. I'm pretty sure they were at one point trying to say that they were child-friendly, Lucha Toronto. Which is interesting because then, we're at a porn show.
So let's talk about the 2018 Backstage Pass, running January 10th to January 15th. I'll tell you right now, I'll shoot with you guys. I most likely will be at the January 10th show. Because January 10th, I will be watching The Room theatrically. Thank you, Fathom Events.
Why can't that come out only... Can it be in other theatres that aren't the Prince Charles Cinema in London?
Oh, boy. So
can it have an official UK and European DVD or Blu-ray release? Not that it isn't nice to directly support Tommy Wiseau by getting it, but it's just, shipping $6.50.
Just wait for all of its Oscar nominations in a month or so, and then we'll start with getting distribution for The Room like it should have. So what we got, $199, you get 2 front row seats to all the Impact tapings. So that's all 5 days of Impact taping. And 2 months free of the Global Wrestling Network. Kind of cool. You get a merchandise swag bag, which I'm sure you're not going to be able to get that night. I don't know, you might. It just depends, because usually they don't have a merch stand. Exclusive meet and greets every single night with a Superstar Knockout. In-ring photo opportunities. There's going to be the inaugural Impact Mini Golf Championship. This is the first thing that I want to be a part of. This would be one of the only reasons. Yeah, so it doesn't say where it's going to be. Even Anne Frank can see it's going to be at Hollywood Driving Golf as a City Walk, so that makes sense. I'm curious if they'll do horror sci-fi. It could go either way. They could totally film it. Like if they do the horror section, there's a lot of cool stuff you can do with that. The sci-fi section, you do a lot of stuff with that. And I really want to see this. And the big one is you get brunch with the knockouts. That's what it says now.
Oh,
so they changed
God
it
damn it! They changed it.
It originally said you get to have a sleepover with the knockouts in a hotel.
Which fucker didn't bloody run this through HR?
No lie. I don't know how this got anywhere online. I've seen it before many times. It's like, see my code, decency is dead. So, I mean, seriously, it's ridiculous. That's interesting. One Triple S is asking about turning Tyler Bate heel. Not quite yet.
Not much point because of Pete Dunne.
Yeah.
In all honesty, at least in WWE terms.
Of course, he's
pretty good as a heel already, and as part of British Strong Style in Progress.
And you could always have Bate and Seven turn heel and do Mustache Mountain and Pete Dunne together as a stable.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, we could do that, but I mean, we'll see what goes. So again, sorry to cut off your question, One Triple S, in your commentary, but my God, who came up with this idea? Smartly got it taken care of with the fact that I
can just imagine. I can just imagine the women's roster like, oh yes, marketing. Let's see what we've got to do for the fans this time. Wait, sleepover with the knockouts?
Yeah. Of course, we haven't heard it in a while, and now it makes complete sense.
Well, no, it sort of is like that.
I know.
Wait, it's the freeze frame to be continued. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, sort of like, what the fuck? I think we might have to do, thanks to the people that managed to resurrect it. We might have to do at some point a dramatic reading of the history of LOL TNA. And just play every single time bloody yeses roundabout after every stupid bit. Problem is, there'd be so many times that we're playing it to be a bit of a problem. Just trying to see if there's anything. Oh, there's the details about the. Oh no, okay. It does say that the about the VIP packages with the brunch for the knockouts. They don't acknowledge that it used to say sleepover. Oh, that's interesting. Apparently, as well, if we're following on the LOL TNA storylines, Sami Callihan did an interview where he kept referring to Impact as TNA. Oh, is this okay? So apparently, Laurel Van Ness, the reason why she might want to go out of the company, in terms of speculation.
Oh, good.
It's because of the whole everybody's got their own reign on their gimmicks.
Okay.
Apparently, she may want out to take the gimmick herself and do it on the indie circuit and make money out of it there, rather than be hamstrung with just what she does in Impact.
I mean, that's smart business from her standpoint, completely.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, on Talk is Jericho. Apparently, the idea of letting people have their own gimmicks was the idea of Callis and Scott D'Amore, who convinced Nordholm to give up and the licensing idea, with Callis himself quoting that promotions owning wrestlers was a thing of the past and that Impact should get with the times. So there you go. That's a great point. So that's this week in LOL TNA as it's developed.
Bringing that back now.
Well, I guess the big thing is last week Impact had its lowest ratings of the year and probably lowest ratings ever.
That's a shame.
Which makes you wonder why they tried to do a big show against Star Wars.
Yeah, that's a bad idea.
Because that means it was even lower than Thanksgiving.
Oh, no. I was at that show.
The Thanksgiving one, you know, with the food fight and everything, and
yes,
the turkey suit.
I'm all over that show.
Which was only one match, remember, because they just showed all the turkey suit matches from the previous years.
Right.
It did worse than that. So, and that's when it wasn't really up against anything. Sure, there was, you know, Thursday night football and whatever, but it was up against that anyway on Thanksgiving. But it still did worse. So I think that, you know, I don't think you could credit Tribute to the Troops as getting people in, because I didn't watch it.
I don't know anybody that did, unless they're like a completist. And I used to be, but now I've given up caring.
Too much fucking wrestling.
Too much substandard wrestling that I don't care when good stuff comes out, because I'm so like blown up with the stuff that's substandard.
Yeah, very true. Meanwhile,
there's always that.
Mm-hmm.
Hyro's back. He says, do you think we'll see Ronda Rousey, Billie Kay, or Peyton Royce in the Women's Royal Rumble? I think it's a good bet on all three of them, actually.
Yeah. I mean, if we are having 30, we need to make the numbers up somehow.
Yep.
I mean, realistically, if you had everybody from the roster as is, you'd be up to somewhere in the region of about 25, I'd say. Then add in a few legends.
Like wild cards, too.
Like Trish. Yeah, some of the women. Hey, if you want to be cool, WWE, Nixon Newell's debut, let it be the Royal Rumble. In fact, if we're talking about women's wrestling, we might need to talk about Defiant.
Yep.
This week. Because, yes, I have made a judgment call. By the looks of it, they're trying to make their shows only an hour long. Or in the region of an hour long. So, because of that, I'm actually giving it a chance, because it doesn't mean we've got to go for a long-ass show. Because basically there was very little promos on this show, and a fair bit of wrestling, because I think, we had 4 matches. Travis Banks beat David Starr in a very good match, which, as the opening match to the new era, was pretty good. But then afterwards, Starr saying, "Look, my shoulder was up. You know, after the Kiwi Crusher, I did. You know, the count was not fine. You know, the count wasn't right. I kicked out." And the thing is, if you do look at the replays, it seems to be might have a point. And anyway, afterwards, Travis offers a handshake to Starr, but then Ligero and Hendry show up to beat the shit out of him. because this we never covered. Travis Banks got kicked out because he was shit. And BT Gunn and Joe Coffey were let go to do their own thing. But not in a sort of negative way. And then they get Star to help out and does for a little bit. And they go for sort of the concerto sort of style. And Star lifts up the chair and the lights go out. And the graphics say CCK. And here come Chris Brooks and Kid Lycos. So, yeah, CCK are now part of the stuff. Which is weird. Then they have an advert for the subscription service. And Millie McKenzie's in the ring with a jobber entrance. Taking on Little Miss Roxy. And the great thing is the commentary saying, oh, Millie McKenzie's, a newcomer. Has no chance against Little Miss Roxy. Thing is, like, Little Miss Roxy, I think, has won one match out of, 7 that she's been in. And as soon as it starts, Roxy's offense is up there with bloody Jenna Maraska's offense on Charmel.
Oh, no.
It's like, oh, my God. And then Millie goes, fuck it, Suplex City, bitch. Because, keep in mind, Millie is 17 and she's doing better suplexes than Brock Lesnar, who is twice her age. She is the suplex queen. I would say she's the new Nixon Newell, even though Nixon wasn't that style. But she sort of, admittedly Nixon's Welsh, so she would have made her home promotion would be Fight Club Pro. But Millie, I think, has pretty much wrestled for every show for Fight Club Pro over the last year or so. And clearly they must think she's a good apple or, a good asset, I should say. In the terms of she's 17 and she's actually getting to be part of their shows and putting some pretty good matches on against quite a few good people. Hence why she's now apparently been picked up by Defiant /IPW. We'll get to that in a minute. But yeah. Does the 3 Germans. After the 3rd German pins Roxy. 1, 2, 3. And Millie wins. So the person that we've gone, oh yeah, you got no chance, wins. And it's not like I really hope they're not trying to make her like Goldberg or anything. But yeah. It's a shame that commentary really didn't give her the respect. Because the fact of the matter is, this crowd did not give a shit about Roxy. Because this was in Birmingham, which basically is Millie's hometown. So it's like, well, that's a bit awkward. There you go. That went down. I'm just double checking. Where is...
what's a good wrestling?
Oh, she's from Coventry.
Okay.
She's not that far away then from Birmingham.
One Trip West is actually what's a good wrestling podcast to listen to. I really prefer at this point. Well, I like Conrad Thompson and Tony Schiavone, and I like Bruce Pritchard.
If you want one that has and hasn't existed, go to Waiting's YouTube channel. and you'll be able to see and hear John Pollock and Waiting's reviews of, I think they've done Raw and SmackDown
Right.
for the past 2 months. However, they're now starting up their new venture entitled Post Wrestling. And from what I can tell, the Christmas Eve show, which I guess is being taped in the next day or so, because it's going up as midnight strikes, I guess, Toronto time, Christmas Eve. All the teasers seem to point that what the assets of what formerly was live audio wrestling, which was arguably the very first podcast / radio show that was out there covering all this stuff, is sort of getting a new home as part of Post Wrestling. I can tell, or that's what I can guess, because Agnew's saying, if you want to know more about what I'm doing next, and then he tweeted the bloody. It's brilliant. The two little clips that have been put up by John and Way. They're piss taking the bloody Bludgeon Brothers. Also saying, like, nobody. I can't remember the line that he says. I might have to see if I can find it. Where is it? Post Wrestling. Because it's sort of like, I know what it's clearly a dig at. It's a dig at global. Well, that's the first one. God damn it! Can we? Yes, there's only one cure. I think that's the one. Yep, published this week. It's basically a Bludgeon Brothers ripoff, but better than the Bludgeon Brothers.
There is only one cure for 3-hour Raws and for 205 Live.
Oh, sorry, I got the wrong one. Damn it, it was the other one. Just they posted them up at the same time, even though one was out a week before. God damn it.
So,
the podcast world is a horrible place.
Wait for it.
And we're here to make it worse. No law can stop us. No asylum can afford us.
There you go. No law can stop us. No asylum can stand us. Which is obviously a dig at, obviously, TNA now being owned, even though it isn't the asylum, obviously, but the Impact Origins, if you will.
So I mean, if you
So
like,
yeah, keep an ear out for that on Sunday and whatever they're doing.
another great thing, honestly, One Triple S. Just check out at Acer1337 on Twitter, and Acer always talks about the various wrestling podcasts you should be listening to. He'll tweet out links pretty much like instantaneously. So for sure, check those out. Stuff I used to listen to. I was a big fan of the O Show. Obviously, that's where the locker room radio we put on the tagline of the show comes from. Big fan of the O Show back in the day. I like Johnny Fairplay when he used to do his podcast. I was a very big fan of that. The stuff that they did, like Who's Slamming Who, was good. I like listening to that. A couple of some of the promotions I worked for did their own podcast. They were always entertaining. So yeah, they're everywhere. Chinamito CFAL, welcome. He's from Rio de Janeiro. So yes, thank you for joining us tonight. Hopefully you're liking what you're hearing.
Brazil.
Yes. I will not give heat to that right now. I appreciate you joining us tonight. Speaking of Acer, he chimed in. He said, interesting that certain female pro wrestlers can perform and execute better particular maneuvers than certain of the men. Wow, who knew? Those women definitely have a lot of talent. And when Triple S wants to ask about Dolph literally dropping the belt. Apparently, what it sounds like, they're going to take him off TV in order to sell the angle, and he's going to be working the house show circuits for a bit.
I still think they're doing too much of. I mean, they literally did basically the same thing that Natalia did, except Natalia didn't get the belt.
These wink wink storylines too. That's another thing that doesn't really play well with a lot of the demographic currently. They're trying to play up to our demographic. A lot of our demographic has already passed them by.
So back to Defiant, with basically Joe Hendry does a promo sort of talking about Travis Banks and saying that he'll be taking away the spotlight on the Kiwi Buzzsaw. So then we get Amin and Kid versus Pastor William Eva and William Slater, which was all right. But so basically, Eva raises his hands in prayer, the lights go out and come back on, and Jørn Simmons in the ring beats the shit out of Slater, beats the shit out of Amin. I'm guessing that means he obliterates Kid. It's just been written wrong by Ian, who does the write-ups for Back Body Drop. Yeah, weird pairing up Jørn Simmons. I don't know why we need this stable, which is a bit concerning. Who knows? Gunn and Coffee basically say that they want to have a go at the tag titles. And they want it, they're open it to it being a hardcore match, so we're getting that next week. So here comes Kirby out for the main event, getting his match with Marty Scurll for the title. But wait, Aries attacks him and throws him off the stage and says the fans are prophets, the fans are just puppets. And then basically says, you all thought I was great last night, and it's like, wait, the show was 2 weeks ago. It wasn't last night. And Aries is like, I want to, apparently they don't want to give me a title shot. And the fans boo this because they want to see Aries with a title shot. And Stu Bennett comes out and he's like, we had the contract. Wait for your turn. You're not getting a title shot tonight. But then Marty comes out and goes, I'm a fighting champion. And considering everything that happened with Mark Haskins and Chris Ridgway on the last thing, yeah, we'll have a fight. And Stu's watching ringside from a chair and whatever for all of this, and basically Marty goes for the powder spot, throwing the powder and everything, but he misses it. The powder goes into the ref's eyes, and Marty gets the chicken wing on. Aries taps immediately, but of course there's no ref, and Stu's angry, and Marty gets some water to rinse out the referee's eyes. And during all this, Aries grabs the umbrella, low blows Scurll, puts on the last chancery, and Marty Scurll has to tap out. And so Marty Scurll was a bloody transitional champion.
Wow.
For Austin Aries.
That is crazy.
And And then Aries says, "Oh, look, I'm champion," and then addresses Stu and goes, "That contract, I burned that piece of shit because I don't need one because I'm the champion. I run the show, and now considering it's interval time, which is a bit awkward because it's supposed to be a TV show and you're not supposed to be addressing that, I'm going over, and pictures with the title will be much more lucrative and make me more money." And then you literally see him get out the ring, hop the barrier, go to wherever the bar is, and just like sit down on his chair and just like put out the 8x10s. It's like, I mean, that's weird.
That's amazing.
It's different, but then again, it's sort of like, so you had Martin lose just like this? Just because you want to put over Aries?
It's very odd.
So next week, the Prestige of Hendry and Ligero take on CCK of Kid Lycos and Chris Brooks, which is interesting because Kid Lycos is injured. I mean, he's only had surgery this week, and this was 2 weeks before everything. So, and Havoc and Primate defend the tag belts against BT Gun and Joe Coffey. And then they announced that Chain Reaction is going to be their next big pay-per-view in February 18th in Manchester. So, yeah, they clearly put the belt on Aries to try and get attention. But then, as a lot of people pointed out, including Ian in his write-up, if you're having Aries win, and considering everything that happened at the end of the pay-per-view that they had when Ridgeway and Haskins showed up, they never showed up to this one. So where were they? You'd have thought they would have interfered to help out Aries, but no. Who knows?
Couple questions.
Not me.
Couple questions in chat. So Acer says he wants to see the Bludgeon Brothers against War Machine. We talked about that on Monday night, actually. Well, Wednesday night.
Stealing their attire, damn it.
Sunday night. God, I don't know what day it is anymore. Sorry. I got other things on my mind right now. One Triple S asked what your favorite Grado match?
Ooh, probably the one where he won the title off Drew Galloway back at Fear and Loathing 8, I think. When it's sort of like, okay, he warrants it. By the way, thoughts and prayers out to Grado because he lost his mum this past week as well, which is a shame to hear. Perhaps that's why he wanted to take a break away from wrestling for a bit, not because of the shit at Impact, but because of what was happening in personal life. So either way, I hope it means that he doesn't go back to Impact and he just stays, Then again, if we're doing the tapings in America, perhaps he can be a part of them.
Yeah, he'll probably be on the tapings on the 10th or 15th.
We'll see.
Says, I think the whole deal with Natty Neidhart and Dolph Ziggler is a work. I think should be pretty interesting to see what develops between those two. And the first We Are Defiant shows are solid. One Triple S wants to ask, is Defiant better than Impact, and are the segments any good?
Well, we didn't. It seems better. Okay, it's not a comparison that you're looking for here. Defiant seems better than WCPW, at least as it got towards the end, because it's not about any people that are part of What Culture. It's trying to be a standalone thing. The guy from What Culture is just sort of doing backstage interviews and whatever. I think just for their, on-demand service. The only authority figure that we're seeing really is your boy, Stu Bennett.
Oh, yes.
And no sign of Alex Gracie. Not Gracie, but he What's his twat name?
He may not. No, he's back. Good.
Alex. I've forgotten his name. The guy that I absolutely hated on commentary. Alex Shane.
Alex Shane, yeah.
The guy who sounded just like a total prat. I want to mention it here because I just remembered, because obviously it seems as if Defiant Wrestling is basically some sort of offshoot of IPW. If you remember, they were helping out Lucha Forever over the last couple of shows.
Right.
Well, not for long, because a statement got put out, I think either today or yesterday. As 2017 is set to close out, there have been many questions and speculations regarding the future of Lucha Forever. We can officially confirm that as of December 2017, Lucha Forever Wrestling will no longer be a trading company. This affects any listed events going forward until stated otherwise within this statement. This is no decision made lightly, but a decision made correct in light of the current state of the company. And, rightfully, it's, it says we started the promotion to provide a fun alternative promotion that offered great variety and greater times. I'm hoping we'll be able to provide this. But as the bit where it rightfully, when you look at it, it was like a bit ridiculous. Because I think they had 17 shows in the space of like 7 months. Which to me is a little concerning for a startup promotion having that many shows. The only other promotion, at least big, that I can think of in the UK that's done that many shows this year is Progress. And they probably can afford it. That's what, 17 shows in 7 months, so extend that out. That's like, in average, going to be like 30 in a year.
Right.
Technically, not even Impact does 30 in a year.
No.
Because they do it in blocks of consecutive days, which airs over the weeks and whatever. This is individual shows that are trying to be... I don't know. I don't think they'd even have 30 shows for... what's the promotion that Aaron went to?
Oh, I Believe in Wrestling.
Yeah. I don't think even they have 30 shows a year. So the fact that somehow they could get the money to... Well, they clearly didn't do the money for 17 shows in 7 months, because the last 2 shows had to be rescued by other stuff. But yeah, they said anybody that booked tickets for any future shows will be refunded, and the website will be taken down at the end of January. But all their on-demand service will remain until March, where the back catalogue will be found on a partnered vendors on-demand service. I don't know if that will be Powerbomb or IPW's own demand service or Rev Pro's own on-demand service. Either way, they will be up somewhere else other than Lucha Forever's own service. So as that was looking interesting, turns out I was looking at it interesting just at the right time when it was collapsing. No one bites the dust.
What's the Acer asked what the difference between WCPW and Defiant?
Well, it's obviously not booked by the It's not booked by the WCPW guys, from what I can tell.
Right.
Because obviously, for what, the first year or so, it was clearly Blompier and Pacitti and Jack the Jobber and Ross sort of being involved, and it then evolved into actually trying to be a sort of wrestling promotion without them. They were in there for quite a while and got involved. And then it sort of went out the window when they obviously left to do Cultaholic.
Mm-hmm.
And then Blompier had his sexual misconduct issues.
Good Lord.
I guess that's the best way to describe it. He's getting the counseling that he needs.
Yeah, exactly.
I still think it's a stupid thing, and at least he accepts that. Acknowledges it as a problem.
Favorite.
He ain't denying it like quite a lot of people are doing in the mainstream media in terms of allegations of sexual misconduct.
Right.
Favorite
lucha match? One Triple S ask you.
What are we talking about?
He just asked favorite Lucha Underground match.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, because we look Lucha Forever, Lucha in the Six. To be honest, I wouldn't say match. I'd say the entirety of Ultima Lucha Tres. The 4 episodes were very interesting wrap-up for stories for, at the time, what we thought was perhaps the last ever stuff. I mean, the hardcore match that happened between Killshot and Dante Fox was pretty ridiculous. There was some interesting stuff in season 1 as well. The first face-off between Prince Puma and Johnny Mundo. There was some good stuff. To be honest, though, some of the best Lucha stuff was like some of the crazy, like, B-movie Robert Rodriguez style shit that happened. It wasn't actually the wrestling. Especially when you got to sort of like, oh, wait, he smashed the ball into the guy's head. He's actually dead. Well, that's an interesting turn. Wow!
And rumors on Vince interested in selling would be best for business?
Vince won't be selling.
No.
He loves the fact that he's a billionaire.
Agreed.
Because of his assets in WWE as it stands, he's a billionaire. All the money that he's got from other ventures, he's now putting into this Alpha Entertainment thing, which may or may not be whatever his new XFL variant is going to be. If he sells off his WWE stock, he might not be a billionaire. Because if the XFL 2 Electric Boogaloo fails, he's going to want to stay with WWE in terms of getting, trying to cover his losses back. Because keep in mind, because of this, the share, because of all this rumors about the XFL and all the other stuff, and like Ronda Rousey, the share price of WWE went up. As I say, so much that Vince went from being a multi-millionaire to a billionaire again. Because it went down when the networks tanked in terms of the viewership, and it wasn't getting the high enough ratings. So all the push that it did have and momentum died. And now it seems to be getting it back by a combination of a whole load of things. So, yeah, I don't think Vince will leave that company when he gone and down die.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think that's how, you know, in all honesty, he should have, for the company to fully flourish as it is, he would have gone years ago. But he won't because it's his company. And I don't. It's not got to that point where he feels comfortable enough to pass it down to his kids, just like his dad wasn't comfortable to hand it down to him until he thought the time was right. But there you go.
Is Vince Richard and Ted Turner?
Maybe. I don't know. We'd have to go to the.
I would say maybe now, but I don't think so before.
Forbes rich list Vince McMahon. Do we have a up to date? Yeah, continue to the site, please. I just want to know. Real time net worth 1.57 billion, which apparently is down. He's 1,567th on the billionaires list. So 1567. Forbes. Ted Turner. Forbes said to Richland. Ted Turner. Let's look at his profile. 2.2 billion. He's 896 in terms of billionaires. So Ted Turner is richer. Apparently, probably because he owns 51,000 bison. I didn't even know that. Holy shit. He took control of the bloody Turner broadcast, well, Turner advertising, because his father killed himself. Christ. And over the last 55 years, he's taken Turner advertising and turned it into basically Turner broadcasting. You know, forming CNN, creating Cartoon Network, creating TNT. Saving WCW and then not saving it because he was just wanting to get to a quick buck off Time Warner. But yeah, Turner is richer than Vince still.
That's interesting because I thought that it might have been different.
Them bison, son. They must be fucking expensive bison. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
51,000 bison and apparently a ranch in Argentina. Who knows?
All right, so that is that our show, or we have some more?
We got
we
the
have
indie stuff.
More stuff to discuss.
New Japan, of course. We've got the New Japan stuff. So the World Tag League Finals ended up with Sonata and Evil winning Block A outright on 10 points. Beating Goto and Yoshihashi in the last match of that group. And then Block B got interesting. War Machine. Well, actually, sorry. I guess in the match that matters, Togi Makabe and Hanare beat Finlay and Kitamura. With Makabe pinning Kitamura. So the true young boys are Finlay and Kitamura. Then Lance Archer and David Boy Smith Jr. beat Beretta and Chucky T. Which meant they were on 10 points. War Machine beat Elgin and Cobb, so War Machine finished on 10 points. And then the Gorillas of Fuck beat Ishii and Yano to end on 10 points. But on the tiebreakers, the Guerrillas had beaten both Killer Elite Squad and War Machine on the way to getting their 10 points. So therefore, they win and progress on to the finals. So on the show, on the finals, so Goto pinned El Desperado after the GTR in the Chaos versus Suzuki Gun match. Afterwards, Goto challenged Suzuki to a match for the Never Openweight title. And Suzuki said, look, you've already lost to me before. Now you got nothing to put on the line. And Goto went, I'll put my hair on the line. Then Marty Scurll and Cody beat Kushida and Kota Ibushi with Scurll with a small package on Kushida. Scurll blinded Kushida by throwing powder in his face and rolling him up. There was also a bit, though, during the match when Kota got a crossroads, I think, or at least a DDT on the stage area that they've got there. Then Roppongi 3K with Romero in tow beat the Elite of the Bucks and Omega. Oh, sorry, no, Omega won, beating Romero. And then video package showed up with Chris Jericho congratulating him on another great match. But are you ready for the match at Wrestle Kingdom? And then the lights go back out, or back on, sorry. And Jericho's behind him, hits him with a code breaker, smashes him open with the US title. And then Don Callis has had enough, goes into the ring and says, save it for Tokyo, save it for the Tokyo Dome. And Don Callis gets hit with a code breaker. Then Omega gets hit with a second code breaker, and then Young Bucks make the save with a baseball bat. And Jericho flees. And then, of course, the day after, and we talked about this on Sunday, they had the press conference when there was just a giant fight. And, oh, you're laughing at fuck face.
Exactly.
Became infamous. Then with Okada and Ospreay, Naito and Takahashi, Takahashi actually pinned Ospreay with a time bomb. And then Naito asked the crowd who'd make a better champion. And, the crowd cheered for Tetsuya, and he said, Okada, did you hear that? Hey, perhaps you'll get the wish at Wrestle Kingdom. And then Okada came out and beat the shit out of Naito and Hiromu, and choking both out with his new submission hold. And then Evil and Sanada beat the Guerrillas of Fuck to win the World Tag League and challenge Killer Elite Squad, which the challenge was accepted. But we'll get to that. So then the Young Lions Cup stuff happened this weekend as well. The last two shows for New Japan this year at Korakuen Hall. So Kitamura and Kawato are both on 6 points as of the first set of Young Lions Cup League matches, with Oka on 4, Amina on 2, and Narita and Yagi on 0 each. Then later on in the card, with the 6-man with Chaos versus Suzuki Gun, Goto demanded that Suzuki answer his hair versus title challenge. Suzuki tried to attack him afterwards and shave his head, but after Goto fended him off, Suzuki beat the shit out of the Young Lions and also cut off some of Yagi's hair, which is fair. So then they had the 6-man title match, and considering, what's happening with Evil and Sanada, it made sense for them to drop the 6-man titles, and they did so to Bad Luck Fale and the Guerrillas of Fuck. And then in the main event with Okada and Yoshihashi versus Naito and Takahashi. Okada won with the Cobra Clutch on Hiromu and kept the hold locked on after the bell quite a bit until Naito interfered. And they brawled until Okada hit Naito with the Tombstone and the Rainmaker. And Okada said Naito can call himself the MVP all his wants because I think he got the award from Tokyo Sports again this year, but he's not the champion. So again, we're trying to do heelish stuff here. So Monday for the second Korakuen Hall show, Narita and Yagi in terms of the Young Lions Cup League are still on 0. Umino's now on 4 points. Kawato and Oka are on 6 points. And Kitamura is on 4 out of 4 wins. So he's got the momentum. Then we had the tag match with Suzuki and Iizuka versus Goto and Yoshihashi, which Goto won via DQ because Suzuki Gun fully interfered in this one. And Suzuki finally accepted Goto's challenge for the Never Openweight title, saying that he wouldn't just take Goto's hair, but he would end Goto, and also seemed to put his own hair on the line because he said whoever wins will get the title and the Clippers. All or nothing. So somebody's getting their head shaved in January. So then Hiroshi Tanahashi showed up, which is also another one of the big stories. He's injured, so he isn't able to do stuff. Wasn't able to be part of the matches for this stuff. And he did make an appearance and apologized for not being able to wrestle, but his knee is improving and would be ready for his IC title defense against Jay White. And then Jay White came out to confront Tanahashi and they brawled, and White got the upper hand, attacking Tanahashi's injured knee. And then Okada and Roppongi 3K beat Naito. Sorry, Naito and Bushi and Takahashi beat them. Unsurprisingly, Roppongi 3K being the ones to take the fall. But then afterwards, Naito invited Okada to shake his hand, only to attack him when he reached out. And then Okada locked on the Cobra Clutch, but Naito managed to escape and hit the Destino on him. So they've really made this look very back and forth in terms of it's hard to tell who's going over.
Yeah.
I guess is what you want to do.
They're doing that on purpose
Really.
for good reason.
Now, in a couple of hours, the finale of the Young Lions Cup League will happen. There are a few other matches on it as well, but the ones that matter in terms of the league, apparently this is the order as well. We've got Hirai Kawato versus Shota Umino, Tomoyuki Oka versus Katsuya Kitamura. The note being, of course, if Oka beats Kitamura, then Oka wins because of tiebreaker. But if Kitamura wins, he clean sweeps everybody. And then apparently the last one is Tetsuhiro Yagi versus Ren Narita. As in, the guys that are going on last are the guys that haven't won a single match. So somebody is winning something. Probably, unless, of course, they both get beaten the shit out of. That is possible. Double DQ or something weird. And then, in terms of Wrestle Kingdom, because we might as well mention that one. The card as it stands, the pre-show will be the New Japan Rumble as it always is. Then the opener will be the junior tag belts with Roppongi 3K versus the Young Bucks. Then we've got the seemingly traditional now, because it's happened for the last 2 years, 6-man tag title gauntlet match with Fale and the Gorillas defending against Taguchi Japan of Makabe, Juice Robinson, and Taguchi. Chaos of Ishii, Beretta, and Yano. Team Gaijin, I guess, of Elgin and War Machine. And then Team Suzuki Gun of Sabre Jr., Iizuka, and Taichi. Then we'll have the Kota Ibushi match followed by the tag titles with Killer Elite Squad defending against Evil and Sonata of LIJ. Suzuki versus Goto in the title and hair on the line match. Marty Scurll versus Will Ospreay versus Kushida versus Hiromu Takahashi for the junior heavyweight title. Then the IC title between Tanahashi and Jay White. Then the US heavyweight title, which has now been made a no DQ match. So we going hardcore to some extent, boys. Omega and Jericho. And then the main event, Okada versus Naito for the IWGP. Championship of the world.
There you go.
Some other stuff that went down. Aero Lucha, while we were out, had their pilot. The really crazy thing with this is it's literally a pilot. They don't have any deal. And what also doesn't help is Vince Russo is working for them. So who knows? So the show had Willie McClinton, who may or may not be Willie Mack. Spoilers, it is Willie Mack. Beating Mr. 450. Masquerita Dorada beating Damus. Apparently, Masquerita was in the front row while the show was being introduced, but Damus attacked him. Whatever. Kira and Lacey Lane beat Tyra and Vanilla Vargas. Then Rebby Hardy introduced herself as the heel authority figure over the women and set up as the match as the person who got the pinfall facing the person who didn't take the pinfall on the other team next week. The great thing is Kira and Lane both had Vargas pinned, but Lane stopped pinning before the 3 count. So apparently that means Kira and Tyra will face another week, which won't be happening because this is a pilot. James Storm beat Trey Miguel. MVP and Sammy Guevara went to a DQ because MVP got DQ'd for pulling the ref in front of a Sammy dropkick. Hurricane Helms, Jack Edwards, who may or may not be Jack Evans, spoilers it is, and Maximo beat Darga, Garza Jr. and La Mascara. And then Penta and Rey Mysterio beat John Hennigan and Rush. That happened. So who knows? In terms of big stuff over the past fortnight that went down, we got a new OTT No Limits title in Ireland. Jordan Devlin beating Mark Haskins to win that belt. He then retained it the following night, beating Speedball Mike Bailey. Also, the Gender Neutral Championship was on the line in a hardcore match with Martina, the Session Moth, and Kaylee Ray beating the Angel Cruisers. But Martina got the pin, so she becomes the champion. The following night, she retained, beating Adam Maxted and Charlie Sterling in a 3-way. Rev Pro. Some pretty big stuff went down on this one. Curtis Chapman got the Cruiserweight title, beating the champ Flash Morgan Webster along with Ryan Smile, El Fantasmo, and David Starr in a pretty biggish surprise. Even though it was on a Rev Pro show and not a Ring of Honor show, they had Skull and interfering with Lethal and whatever and trying to go the sort of heelish ways like they've been teasing for the first few weeks. Pete Dunne beat Eddie Dennis because he wanted revenge. And then afterwards, Dennis got beaten the crap out of, so much for heels there and everything, I guess. Zack Sabre Jr. retained the British Heavyweight title against Matt Riddle. And then Sabre Jr. said he'd beaten everybody, and out comes Trent Seven. And Sabre Jr. then challenged Mustache Mountain to put the tag titles on the line against him and Minoru Suzuki as part of the January 20th show that they've got coming up. That could be an interesting tag match. And then Marty and the Young Bucks beat CCK of Flip Gordon, Chris Brooks, and Travis Banks because, of course, Kid Lycos is injured. Also got interesting in terms of the ICW tapings because the match between BT Gunn and Lionheart for the World Heavyweight and Zero G titles, the undisputed titles, went to a no contest. So I don't know what happened there. I have to see where it terms of the tapings. Both titles were successfully defended in terms of progress over their Sheffield show. The big issue with that is because of the adverse weather over here, the snow. Pete Dunne, Trent Seven, Tyler Bate, Flashman Webster, and Mark Andrews weren't able to make the show. So much so that Doug Williams had to show up to answer Rampage Brown's open challenge. Matt Cross beat Chris Brooks. Gabriel Kidd was involved. Primate, Chief Deputy Dunn, Pastor William Eva. You know, loads of names that you wouldn't sort of clearly have come in because they were available to help out. Also, there was a Live at the Dome show, which had from what I've heard, a relatively good match between Chris Brooks and David Starr, which Chris won, along with a few others at Tufnell Park. They seem to be doing Dome shows every month or every couple of months anyway, as it stands. MLW's Never Say Never. I believe it's still up for free on YouTube, I think. I know it was because I downloaded it and whatever. In terms of the big stuff, Matt Riddle beat Filthy Tom Lawler. And then Riddle challenged Lawler to get a partner of his choosing to face him and Jeff Cobb next month. We'll have to see what happens there. Priscilla Kelly attacked Santana Garrett, who was an injury replacement because Chelsea Green was apparently injured. And in the main event, Jimmy Havoc and Darby Allin beat John Hennigan and Shane Strickland in the no DQ match. In terms of Excellence Pro Wrestling, Hallowicked won the tournament to become the first champion of Excellence. Beyond Wrestling, Volta beat David Starr. Wheeler Yuta beat Mike Berner to get through to the final of the tournament for tomorrow. Along with Ace Romero beating Josh Briggs, so it'll be Wheeler Yuta versus Ace Romero in that final. The show also saw Riddle beat Martin Stone. Darby Allin beat John Silver and Keith Lee beat Joey Janela. The Evolve weekend, not a dramatic amount happened. Catchpoint retained the tag titles, and Keith Lee retained the WWN title on Evolve 96. And then 97, Austin Theory won the title of Fred Yehai, the FIP World title, that is. There was a title change there. Zack Sabre retained the Evolve title over Yaka via submission. So that's all that went down there. CZW's Cage of Death, the Rep beat Xavier and Wentz, OVE, and Reynolds and Palmer to become the new champs. Dan O'Hare and Schlack got the Ultimate Opportunity Coin Challenge victory. Matt Tremont beat Jimmy Lloyd. In the big one, I guess, Nick Aldis beat Tim Storm to become the new NWA World Champion. Jimmy Jacobs beat Jimmy Havoc. Maxwell Jacob Friedman beat Joey Janela to get back his Wild TV title. And Ricky Shane Page retained the CZW title in the Cage of Death match, beating Shane Strickland and Joe Gacy. And then from this weekend, the Doy Darts Hurricane Hall show from Dragon Gate happened. Nothing big happened on that from what I can tell, but we'll get to the card for the final show of the year from them in a minute. For the IPW UK stuff, we did have some title changes, which was pretty interesting. Mark Haskins beat Luke Phoenix to win the vacated IPW World title, I think. I believe it was. Adam Maxted retained the All England title against Scott Starr. Zia Brookside beat Livy Grace to become the new women's champion. And then Austin Aries beat Mark Haskins. So he's not only Defiant World Champion, now he's also IPW World Champion. Publicity stunt much?
I got a couple of questions from chat.
No problem.
So Hyra wants to ask if Pete Dunne is able to bring the United Kingdom Championship to independent appearances.
I don't know if he's been defending it in Progress. He's had the belt. I think when he was doing the I'm trying to think of the promotion in Canada, Destiny Wrestling. He had the belt, but it wasn't actually defended on the stuff. I think it's been defended on WWN shows before when he's been on there. And he's had the belt with him, like even in like Fight Club Pro and whatever. He hasn't always obviously defended the belt, but he's had it with him. They haven't been sort of like you can't have it, you can't show it sort of thing. Because obviously that's more good publicity for WWE, which you thought they'd want at the minute. So he has done it in a few indies here and there. In terms of defenses, but mostly those are ones that are sort of in somewhat the inner circles of WWE to some extent, because of course the connections with Progress and Gabe Sapolsky and WWN and everything. So
Right. And apparently he's also really One Triple S is starting to get into Jay White. He likes his work against Punishment Martinez.
Yeah. Considering it obviously was in Japan and was building into something interesting there. The work he's done in Europe and America over the last year or so. It's weird. Normally they do that in Japan for the Japanese talents. You know, they send them to Mexico or America to get experience. Hell, what's the best example of that, Owen? Either Takahashi with Daryl.
Yeah, that's a very good one.
Takagi Watanabe, who became evil. And hell, to some extent, even though it was Impact, God rest his soul, Sonada.
Yeah.
And you know, sort of the opposites happened with, to some extent, Juice Robinson and Dave Finlay. But they're now sort of getting their foot in the door and being treated with a little more respect. So, plus, I believe Juice Robinson was just announced for PWX's X16 tournament that's coming up next month, which we'll talk about them. But he's one of the 16 in that. So, Pro Wrestling Eve had a pop-up show at the Resistance Gallery in Bethnal Green. There was only like 3 or 4 matches. It was only a sort of, as I say, pop-up sort of short show. I think the next one they've got coming up is in a few weeks. Preston City Wrestling had a women's show on the Friday. With Nightshade beating Lauren and Falls Count Anywhere in the main event. However, afterwards, Greg Lambert, the owner, stripped Lucy Cole, the women's champ, for not being in attendance, and then announced that Nightshade would face Rio the following night for the vacant title. There's going to be a new champion no matter what. The Session Moth won her match, so I'm guessing whatever happened in Pro Wrestling Eve is a isolated incident, let's hope. And in terms of Festive Fury, the women's title did change hands. Rio is the new champion. So that happened there. They also announced that Uhaa Nation is going to be in the Road to Glory tournament in February. So yeah, Apollo Crews, WWE wrestler, is going to be part of PCW show in February. That's interesting. Tyson T-Bone retained the heavyweight title against Bubblegum. However, it is worth noting that Tal Bannum tried to cash in his briefcase to get a shot at the title, but was beaten down before he could actually hand it in. In terms of Alpha One Wrestling stuff from this weekend as well, Ethan Page retained the Southside World title against Gregory Iron. Space Monkey apparently showed up as Santa Monkey, but then Maxwell Jacob Friedman spoiled the party, but then got laid out by Santa Monkey and got a banana stuck in his mouth. And stuff got handed out to the kids from the monkey. Shane Saber retained the Zero Gravity title over Kurt Stallion. And Ricky Shane Page retained the Alpha Male title over Josh Alexander. House of Glory, Caveman retained the MTV TRL title match. I don't know what that stands for. Evander James beat Joe Gacy to retain the Crown Jewel title. EYFBO became the new tag champs. They were vacated, beating the Private Party, the House of Gangon, Brian Burgundy, and TJ Marconi. And then Amazing Red retained their House of Glory heavyweight title against Zack Sabre Jr. He next faces Loki in February. That should be an interesting one with Amazing Red. Shine Wrestling, Shine 47, had the return of Rain from her, I guess, retirement. So I guess she didn't retire. She was number 1 in the Survival Rumble, with the winner getting a shot against Lufisto at the Shine 48 show. Apparently, Lufisto got very seriously injured, so therefore she can't wrestle tonight. And Priscilla Kelly has had to be put into the Rumble, but if she wins, oh, I see. No, ACR was supposed to be facing Priscilla Kelly, but she got injured as well, so that's why she's in the Rumble. But whoever eliminates Priscilla then gets the Shine Nova title shot later on in the night. Spoilers, that happened. Rain and Araya Blake were in. Kikio, Natalia Markova. I'm just running through the names here. Tesha Price, Eva Lise, Dynamite Didi, Robin Reed, Mercedes Martinez, Dementia DeRose, Shotzi Blackheart, Brandy Lauren, Lever, Priscilla Kelly, Kira Hogan, Errol Monroe, Stormy Lee, Aya Pereira, Candy Cartwright, and Jessica Havoc. So it eventually came down to Rain and Havoc, so number 1 and number 20. But because she was that desperate to get her hands on what's the name? Because she was so desperate to get her hands on Lauren, Brandy Lauren, she literally climbed out the ring and eliminated herself. Sort of Macho Man style, I guess. The reign goes on, so she'll be in the main event next month against Lufisto, as long as Lufisto's all right to compete, of course. But then Stormy Lee attacks her from behind, which builds to the main event coming up. Interestingly, she kept talking about Rain as her real name and whatever. Since 2000, she's been working her ass off and Rain says since 2000 she's been working her ass off for Lee and everyone in the locker room. Her, Mercedes, Lacey, Sarah Del Rey, and Daisy Hayes built this, so she better show her some respect. Sort of really didn't happen, the respect thing anyway, so that went well. Priscilla Kelly retained the Shine Nova title against Aya Pereira. Jessica Havoc beat Brandy Lauren. Evilisa Mercedes Martinez retained the tag belts over Candy Cartwright and Aria Blake. And then Stormy Lee beat Rain via referee stoppage after slamming her head into the mat and the fact that Rain couldn't answer it. So that's a little bit concerning considering the next show's in January. On Rumble weekend, from what I can tell. AIW, the Duke won the Hoss Division Golden Boot, beating the former champ Joshua Singh along with Calvin Tankman and Kurt Hunt. Yes, that's the actual name. Kikutaro beat Jock Sampson because apparently Tracy Smothers wasn't able to make it to the show, so Jock stepped in.
He cheated. Jock Sampson should have won.
It's Kikutaro, of course he's going to cheat. And in an interesting main event, Dominic Guarini beat Mance Warner in a UFC 1 rules match. From what I remember in UFC 1, there weren't that many rules.
Anybody that remembers from the network has been listening for a long time would know that Jock Sampson's a good friend of mine and somebody that I've actually managed several times. So I'm very happy to see him doing very well for himself.
Stop being biased. Boo.
I have to be biased. So, real quick, I do have a Hiro commentary asked about the young lions in New Japan. When they start working, they only can wear black trunks and they can't do anything crazy, and they observe all the other workers on the floor. And asked about Lady Tappa, your favorite from Impact.
Oh, fucking Lady Tapas.
Yeah, I knew that was coming.
We don't need her in the Rumble because we've already got Big Samoan bitches. We've already got 2 of them. Don't need any more. I don't know what she's been doing, to be honest, since. Don't even know if she's been actually actively involved in wrestling since. She's been here and there doing spots when it's like, wait, she's still actually in a job? She's still into wrestling? Good on her, but I don't know. Still a little concerned. I don't know. In terms of the young boys, yeah, you basically learn the hard way. You get beaten the shit out of. It's sort of like paying your dues sort of thing. Yep. The time is right when you get the chance to win. You get the chance to sort of make a name for yourself. The thing is, out of those guys that we talked about, to be honest, the 4 that have got wins in the tournament are pretty good and are probably on the level where they could be in contention to become a tag team and be part of the Junior Tag League or be singles and challenge for the junior title itself. They're on that sort of level. The 2 that are on 0 points as it stands are still learning. So it'll be interesting to see how they work that into the match against each other in a few hours. We have got 1 show coming up this weekend because Japan doesn't apparently know that Christmas exists. And it's this Saturday. Dragon Gate's the final gate in Fukuoka. I'll only mention some of the big matches, which are basically the title matches going down. So Kagetora defends the Brave Gate title against Yasushi Kanda. The Triangle Gate titles will be on the line with Yamato, BB Hulk, and KZ defending against Naruki Doi, Masato Yoshino and Jason Lee. The Twin Gate belts will be up for grabs with Chima and Susumu Yokosuka versus T-Hawk and Aita. That's a decision match. So basically, I think the titles were vacated. I can't remember why. I don't know if it was because it was on the gym. The belts were on the Jimmies. I'm not sure. But either way, whoever wins becomes the new champions. And then Masaki Mochizuki defends the Dream Gate title against Ryo Saito as well. And from there, we'll transition to... I think their next show, at least Korakuen Hall show, is January 16th, and their next big sort of pay-per-view style big event, I think, isn't even till March. So, but either way, stuff will be happening. You know, obviously there won't be a lot to cover next week because UFC's got a week off. Most of independent wrestling's got a week off. It's getting crazy next week, I will admit. If I have a quick look at what's set for New Year's Eve weekend, I guess, if you will, heading in. AIW's got their last show of the year. AAW has I think it's the Windy City Classic. I can't remember. That's the one where Elgin got replaced by Jeff Cobb to take on Phoenix. Powerbomb TV may or may not have some sort of thing, along with a Beyond Wrestling show. CWF Mid-Atlantic has an end-of-year thing. And also Southside Wrestling, I think, is an end-of-year event over here in the UK. And then it's somewhat chill as well the following week, only a few promotions having shows in January. And then the week of January the 11th through to the 14th goes shit ton crazy. There's at least 12 different promotions. Just quickly going through, I can see MLW, I see CZW, Pro Wrestling Eve, Wrestle Circus, if their shows are back on after their issues. PWX, PWG, On Point Wrestling, Progress Wrestling, Dragon Gate Japan, the IPW UK brand, Preston City Wrestling, and Excellence Pro. Oh, in terms of the PWG, because they did announce it while we were away for the past week or so, it's Mystery Vortex 5. Tickets aren't available just yet. I wouldn't be surprised if they went on sale relatively soon towards Christmas. Then again, I should probably look. They're probably just gone on sale now. Or something stupid. No, all they've announced is that Mystery Vortex 5 will be on January 12th. And of course, the rule for Mystery Vortex is you don't know who's on the show. Although you can guess that probably Ricochet is going to be on the show, considering he's the champion. And that the tag champs. I can't even remember. The Chosen Bros of Cobb and Riddle will be on the show as well. Because, they're the titles that PWG has. Doesn't have to, though, admittedly, so. But there you go. I think we can wind this up for the Festivus.
Fantastic. So that's the show. Ace were also referring to the fact that Brandy Lauren is Ava Story from Impact. Wants to see her. She has a lot of great potential. Hopes that Impact utilizes her. Some interesting
They
one.
Probably won't. They probably won't because it's Impact. Let's be honest.
We'll see. So that's going to be your show for tonight. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you, Acer in chat. Acer 5000 on YouTube, and also Acer 1337. Yes, in a row for all the podcasts you should listen to, Wrestling and or otherwise. Thank you, Hyro, for joining us. One Triple S joined us, as well as Genemito CFL. Thank you from Rio de Janeiro. And we had a good time. I think Logan Burton was in here for a little bit as well. So thank you to everyone. For those of you that are just lurking and not in the chat room, join in. We actually have a fun time here in our live chat every single week here on the Popcast Network, whether we're talking Raw or we're talking our Wednesday show or it's one of our various pay-per-view podcasts or NXT TakeOver podcasts. We have a live chat, very lively live chat. So feel free to chime in if you have any questions, and we can answer those. If not, then just enjoy the show. Thank you again for joining us. So, real quick, Ashley, where can we find you on social media?
I am on Twitter at Ashley's My Name UK.
All right.
Where I'm mostly liking tweets by, I don't know, various wrestlers who are making good comments at the Christie Mass. I'm actually going to quickly look, see what the last few things I've been retweeting have been, because I can't remember because I'm getting old. Only because I've now just realised that I should put Christmas trees in my thing because I don't know how to Christmify my bloody name. Oh yeah, I retweeted Paul Heyman's tribute to Ranky Grandpa that passed away this week. Oh, and I guess the other thing that I retweeted was Daryl's kid getting born.
I forgot about that.
That crazy shit.
And how do we get the last question? Where was Rockstar Spud tonight? This week with 205 Live, was he backstage? Well, he was backstage.
There was shots of him being spotted backstage. There's photographic footage or photographic evidence, I should say, that he was there. I guess they just didn't decide to use him, which made sense because it's like you're trying to promote the debut of Hideo Itami, so having somebody else show up probably didn't make sense, in all honesty.
Point. Okay.
Also, have him show up in Chicago. Bigger wrestling town, could be interesting.
Indeed. So that's your show.
Then again, if they're throwing drinks at the wrestlers because of that board, little concerning.
Yeah. That's your show, everyone. I want to thank you for joining us tonight. Follow me on Twitter at Sir Owen Disney. Follow the network at Popcast Network. Check out our Facebook fan page at Popcast Network. And if you have any ideas for Sip and Snack or Versus or any of the other regular segments here on this network, shoot me an email, SirOwenDisney@gmail.com. Award coverage will be coming up very soon. I have to get that squared away. I will be watching Downsizing the Darkest Hour. Darkest Hour, not The Darkest Hour. It's been a long day, sorry. And The Shape of Water this weekend, along with The Greatest Showman, which I watched earlier tonight. Really good, spot on. You'll definitely enjoy it. And we've got that coming up. I'm watching Downsizing this weekend. That's going to be fun as well. I think I already mentioned that. Probably did. So that's going to be your show. Once again, hope everyone has a wonderful Festivus. And don't shoot on too many people. But if you do, shoot straight from the hip. And enjoy your holiday season, whether it's Christmas or Kwanzaa, or whether you just celebrate the fact that you're alive and well. We want to thank you out there, and very happy holidays from the entire Popcast Network, from Ashley, myself, from AJ, from everyone in the elite of the Popcast Network that we haven't done anything with for a while. But don't worry, it's coming 2018. It's not too far away. We want to thank you, everyone, for joining us for 2018 coming to, oh God, it's been a long day. Good. I'm just going to end because I'm just rambling now. Thank you for joining us, everyone. We'll say goodbye properly and next week here on the Wednesday Wrestling Popcast. Join us Monday night for Raw. Time to be announced. Well, actually, Raw should be fine. Back here next Wednesday for the Wednesday Wrestling Popcast. And we're heading towards Wrestle Kingdom. We're heading towards the Royal Rumble, NXT TakeOver back again. And then, of course, the Oscars are not very far away. So another Oscar prediction video coming up where we actually predict or try to predict every category of the Academy Awards with me, AJ, and Ashley. Speaking of AJ content coming this weekend. AJ's movie reviews and versus is coming. More Gaming with Ash, more Ashley Sip and Snack, which I'm going to officially give him an official title and not just a guest star series. So it's basically become the Ashley Show here on the network lately. So I'm going to figure out a title for it, and we'll probably use that. So that's going to be coming your way. I have a Sip and Snack that I filmed at SeaWorld. It's going to be coming out later today. So I checked it out, and that's going to be your video. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy your Festivus. Enjoy your holidays. And until tomorrow, boys and girls. That's all we got to say about that.
Ho, 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 ho.
Be laughing at fuckface. Shut your mouth.
Okay.